Hello.
Hey, Willie, how you doing?
All right.
What?
What?
What? Give
What?
me a weird look. What?
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 What are you looking at?
What are you laughing at? What are you
You
smiling
looking at
about?
my flannel?
That's
I live
flannel.
in BC now. I have to wear it.
That's fine. Yeah.
I got the notice in the mail.
I'm dressed warm too. I'm getting cold. I'm warming up over here in my fucking whatever this is. Yeah. Good.
So I really have to say though, unironically, there's something really strange about moving out to BC and living in BC for a couple months, and then like it got rainy and cold, and then like literally every single man between the ages of 18 and death started wearing the same clothes,
Mm-hmm.
like the exact same clothes. It became very strange walking to the store as I'm the only one who is not wearing the flannel. Now I am wearing the flannel. Now I am fitting in.
That is weather appropriate. Um, yeah, no, I'm layering up as well because I'm pretty cold. Um, pretty a bit colder than usual, I guess. We'll get to X Play later. All
Yeah,
right.
no, we'll relax. We'll
All
get to
right,
it.
everybody, just chill.
Well, about the cold. Well, you lost 30 pounds, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that when I lost
yeah,
like 60 pounds.
yeah,
Like, you're colder.
yeah,
You're like
and
much colder.
so something else that's happening as well is I've just started the next phase of this big whatever thing I'm doing, program health thing, and that involves the last couple days being just shakes. So
Just shakes,
just
all liquid.
shakes. I've been
Is this
doing.
prep for you getting like ass injections? What
Well,
are you doing
no,
here?
no, but it is supervised medically by a physician, dietitian, and nutritionist. So like it's being done on the up and up. But I've been doing. Yeah, I talked about it. It's a clinical trial, exactly, and so um, I have had nothing but shakes for the last couple days, and that's something. I'll tell you what. And it does. I feel cold. I feel quite a bit colder than usual. So
Hmm.
I'm wearing my sweaters and I'm staying a bit more toasty. Um, but wow, is that a different thing?
How's that on your stomach?
So the initial like period is it's fine ultimately. Like with the type of thing that you're drinking is really made to have as much as you need, to be like as nu- to get all your nutrients and so on for the day. Um, at the same time, it comes in at around like 900 calories, so it's pretty low.
Isn't
But
that isn't like 1,200 the minimum for like an adult man to?
yeah. So there's a thing where you can start with this, but with supervision and with people that know what they're doing, like you can uh go below that, but you have to keep your eye on it. You have to do things like keep track of where your blood sugar is at and what your blood pressure is and all that stuff. It's just I'm marking down a whole lot of data for while I'm doing this. I'm checking my glucose regularly. I got this thing attached and stuff on the arm, and
Are
I've
you
got
getting the smiley face yet?
yeah, the smiley face is there. The smiley
Oh,
face is
nice.
there. You know. Anyways, but the whole thing to say is as far as it goes on your stomach, like the what I read about is that it can go badly. Some people can get really like constipated and like get rough, but I've been okay. It's been fine in that regard. The main thing I notice about it is that, and I guess this is just because of the schedule I'm used to. When I wake up in the morning, the first shake I have is good to go for hours. Like I can have one and be fine till like, 5, 6 p.m. practically, like super duper fine.
Ooh, okay, that's longer than I thought you were gonna say when
I
you
can
said
put
hours.
the first one I have is super good for like half the day. It's wild.
Okay, well, for clarity's sake, what is morning to you?
Yes, so this
now?
varies. This varies, right? Sometimes it's 9, sometimes it's 11, sometimes
Okay.
it's noon, right? But about 5 hours, give or take, is what I feel like the first one will do. And then once you start to get hungry, you tank hard. Like you immediately are like, oh, battery at 0. I have lost all energy. Head is feeling it, body's feeling it. Everything is going woo, like you're on the Ava countdown clock for 2 minutes practically as soon as the plug gets pulled. And that's where you're like, gotta go get the next one, And so I was feeling that way right before we started. I had my second one, and then that'll pick you back up, and it'll keep you going. And then each one has diminishing returns. So like the second one you have will last you like 2 hours, and then you're gonna need to hit that third, and then there's 4 a day. So it's because your body's just really not used to whatever the fuck you're putting it through. Now, according to the experts, this is gonna correct itself after a couple days, and then it'll get more normal.
So you just started this?
Yeah. I'm first couple days. This like I've been doing a single replacement for a while before this, but like this is the beginning of the like all replacement. It's gonna take a couple days before it like that fades away, according to what the doctor had to say and stuff. But this initial phase is just like, it really does feel like, yeah, you have a 5 hour and then 2 hour battery, then 2 hour battery, and like it when it's out. So I'm gonna see how this works. This is the first time obviously working under these conditions, and I'm gonna see how this works for the purposes of broadcasting. I'm not too sure how well it's gonna go, but I have my water.
Can you not take like sips of the shake at different times?
I mean, yeah, some people do that as well, but that's not like you're gonna run out faster if there's less in your body, right? It's kind of like a direct charge supply, whereas like normal food kind of sits in your stomach and then gets picked at and digested over time. This is like in and out, So I have
sorry, after you.
I have my caffeine. I have my water as well,
Thank
and
goodness.
these things are good to go and still okay. And I can also have like tea and things like that. So we'll supplement and go. But yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see, because I don't know. Today's an experiment. I'm gonna see how I feel doing this. I'm gonna see how I feel sitting down to record, and I might just start fucking sundowning, as it were, and then it's gonna get bad real quick. I might have to take an emergency fucking battery break.
It's funny that you mentioned this, because like I don't know what it says about my blood sugar or my biology, but I have always had a incredibly difficult time, like, hey, I should eat when I am hungry kind of thing. Like, the old adage, like, you should only eat when you're hungry, right? I tried that and ended up going like multiple days without eating anything, and then horribly binging until I was like sick.
That's crazy.
Because I didn't have any. I was like I'll wake up in the morning and no shit not get hungry. Like I'll wake up at 8 a.m. and not get hungry until like 7 p.m. But then I'm like, I'll kill you. I'll kill you for a sandwich. So like,
yeah.
So like I have to go, okay, it's lunchtime. I should eat something so I don't become a cranky monster later.
Of course, this also gets exacerbated by going to sleep at fucking fuck o'clock, and your whole body doesn't understand what lunchtime is, much less breakfast.
I gotta say, moving out to BC has been like the best thing for my like it's been great for every single reason. Like you know what, it's raining outside right now. It's kind of chill. I walked to get lunch in this because there's no snow on the ground. Fucking rules out here. It's chill as fuck. But also, moving to the West Coast has acclimated me to like being awake in the fucking morning
Mm-hmm.
like a human, and it rules. Being awake in the morning is awesome.
Yeah, not for me. I'm just a nighttime person. I'm nocturnal. I get powered up by that. But I will say that at the very least, this thing that I'm doing is making it so that I can't possibly stay up super late because it just once your four shakes down, that's it. And when the battery starts running out, it's like, oh,
Go to sleep so
go
you
to
don't
sleep.
get hungry.
Yeah, exactly. Now you have to shut the day down. There's nothing left for you. It is like, it's interesting. You have e-tanks, and when they're out, it's over. There's no more day for you. And I'm like, no, but I want to play another round of Yomi Hustle. And it's like, no, you have to sleep now. There's literally nothing left. So yeah, it's gonna kind of force a more regular sleep schedule by dropping me at midnight. You know.
So this happens every single day. I wake up between 8 and 9 p.m. because I'm woken up by slime hitting me, and just the noise of
Yep.
gotta piss.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that, and then in the evening, around 10:30 p.m., I look to my left, and the wife drooping, the dog dead asleep, and the cat screaming until we get into the bed. The Morgana shit is real. That is a real thing. And so like I have a bedtime and I have a wake up time that is determined for me.
It screams because you're not asleep.
The cat wants to go to sleep on top of my head in the bedroom. If I'm not in the bedroom, the cat can't go to sleep on top of my head.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Jesus. Fuck. Yeah, no freedom whatsoever.
So then we go through
Become
the
the
fucking
object.
process of shuffling the fat one up the stairs, and the wife gets her water, and then I go get more water because the wife always needs more water.
Mhm. They do.
And then the whole fucking it's a goddamn procession. But yeah, no, it's 10:30 to 8:30 for me, but I blow like 2 hours of that dicking around in the bed playing cards or whatever the fuck.
Hey, get used to this. I gotta use the bathroom immediately.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, but we'll wait for a second.
BRB. Right.
So, are you like constantly on the verge of trying not to shit yourself?
No. No. But I am gonna go pee a whole lot. And that's a byproduct of not really the shakes so much as the amount of water I need to drink to make this work. Because you got to get your 2 liters plus every day.
You know, I
So,
recently, I don't know if it was on the podcast, but I threw a massive tantrum over having to drink water and how much I hate it.
mm,
Like, I drink my water now, and I drink like probably not like the amount I'm supposed to, but compared to the amount that I used to drink, which is nothing, right? I would only drink when I was fucking parched and dying. Like, oh, I'll drink like, 5 to 10 cups of water a day or whatever, right? And I gotta piss all the time, and I hate it. I hate it. I
mm.
want to go back to feeling like shit, but never having to piss. Like, I'm aware that that's the deal.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like the feeling of like it's flushing, it's taking out, it's flushing through you, you know. Um,
I'm doing a stream. I got to get up like once an hour and be like, oh, I got to empty my penis. It's got too much pee in it.
yep.
I was like, this
Yep.
is bullshit. It's a waste of time.
It's constant. I for some fucking reason, what's up?
Bottles.
Yeah,
I
there
should
you
just
go.
piss in bottles.
I mean, we've already got the tech. We've described it. It's
Oh my
right here.
God.
Look how large the opening is right here.
Oh my God, you
That's
could easily fit
just
your wiener in there.
No problem. Good to go. 2 liters in, 2 liters out.
Oh my God, that's
And you can even measure it right on the side. Just know exactly when you're done. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, Reggie literally just never goes ever. He's able to just tank it the entire time.
Wait, really? Like you guys do like a 4-hour sit down? He just doesn't even get up.
Never. Like on exit or entrance, and that's it type of thing. And it's just like, don't you ever? And it's just no. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess.
I mean, everybody has their skills.
Yeah, and you know that
right?
and there's all the whole thing about like breaking the seal or whatever, and like.
Oh yeah, don't break the seal. No, don't do it.
But no. In any case, though, yeah, I'm gonna be getting up and running quite a bit more often.
I'm just thinking like, hey, it's good to know that Reggie can hold it in for long periods, so that when he eventually offers up the most ill-fated cringe duel imaginable, he won't have to get up and go piss. He can just sit there and take it. That clip from your show earlier in the week about Reggie wanting to like send Paige some nasty shit is the funniest fucking thing. We were scream laughing into the floor at the idea of poor Reggie going, yeah, I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna show her something really bad.
He didn't know. He didn't know. He doesn't know. There's a lot he doesn't know. And there was a brief moment. He stood up and he made a declaration. And yeah. Yeah, it lasted about 5 seconds, I'd say.
Like as if I said I'm going to beat you up with my hands and feet. I'm gonna do it.
I think the collective howling of the chat as well kind of just like cemented the idea. Like, did I fuck up? What did I do? What's wrong here? What happened? And not to mention the part where like midway through that video, which was the top 10 hottest Sonic characters,
Sonic
females,
females,
he was like tapping out like seconds in, so like to begin with, this implies somehow like him going down to the river and even fishing out the cringe to attack with. Like it's just.
Dude. A size of the average human mother. It's the line that just keeps giving.
I just somewhere inside I don't know, there's a sight to behold with just imagining Reggie scrolling through ifunny.co for the for the cringiest he can find and being like, ooh yeah, this one. Ooh.
Yeah, so on my so we watched that part of your stream on my stream a few days ago, and I stopped it for a second to be like, okay, so let's recap. Wooly and I had the period in our lives where we would just burn our souls out by staring at the internet and just seeing every horrible thing we could see because whoa, I can handle it, and then we stopped because we realized our souls were dying, and we gave that lifestyle up. My wife did not stop, continues to do so for funsies on the regular, and it appears that Reggie just
Never.
didn't do this process
Under any circumstances at any time. Got online
4 weeks ago.
Got online mid-aughts. Early to mid-aughts, right? So, like, the onboarding process was already deep into, like, 2005 or so. It's like, you don't know this war, man. Like, you have not yet seen what it's like on the battlefield, but you're getting notions, as they say. You're getting notions.
What a great fucking sequence of events.
Well, anyway,
Reggie's sweet. I love him.
But then also not, and this is what people are also learning over time: the hilarity that is the innocence and naivete as perceived, but yet also the simplicity that is not knowing. They don't know the truth and the depth of the depravity. And there's a sequence of, like, I'd say, like, particular episodes over the last couple of years that have just been like, each one unveils a new tag, you know?
Talking about that Mass Effect shit, aren't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. We're slowly unveiling a list of search tags over time.
Don't care for this.
Yeah, and people don't know, but they're learning, and they're just like, oh no, what is he becoming? And I'm like, becoming? I'm sorry.
He walked in like that.
Like, you saw some sort of starter level Pokemon and thought it was super cute and fun and innocent, and I knew what that, like, giganto gigamaxed fucking level depravity was from day one. You just couldn't see it. I've been trying to tell people. I've been trying to warn them.
Yeah, well, nobody believes that kind of shit unless they see it.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, I have not had much of a week outside of the
piss and shakes.
There you go, piss and shakes. But yeah, nah, nothing. Yeah, that's it. Really, we'll see where that goes. But that being said, of course, the Wooly versus whatever got to the bottom of that. Got to the end of that list. People have been asking about where to submit. When we do the next one, we're going to open up the submissions. But for now, we closed off. We did everything that we got that was worth it. And it'll just be it'll overflow to the impossibility if we just keep it open all the time. So I'll let you guys know on all platforms what it's time to take more in for the next time.
So I will say, Wooly, I still think in general that your spreadsheet is the work of a madman. However, when we were watching the clips, the part where there's a column of who added this is pretty great.
It's pretty good.
Because Paige and I are sitting there going, we submitted these? That was us? I don't remember. I guess we did. And it allows you to assign blame.
Yes.
In a way that my format doesn't allow.
Yes, it allows the blame to be assigned. It also allows me to pull it off stream for a minute, check the info to see who updated the sheets and see what notes were put in. You can check things, and there's little details that matter, such as, like, if this is a long video, but you only need to see the last 10 seconds, Yeah. But most importantly, it allows for a very entertaining when we tap the fuck out and kill the vid in the middle of it, time to switch over to the other side and to either Team Reddit or Team Twitter get points. So there's an entertainment factor to when a bomb shows up and just we will not finish a video for any given reason.
I think the saddest part, I did one of these like 2 months ago, and it's one of those batches where I'm just like, skip, skip. You know, you do like 10 in a row, and you're like, whoa. And then I look down in the chat, and a guy's like, Pat skipped every single one of my videos. Does he not like me or something? I'm like, dude, I don't. No, your taste is just trash, dude. You submitted tons of trash.
Yeah, if you're if you're just not reading the room properly, you need to learn and feel that. I'm sorry. You need to understand, especially if you're like, no, maybe this clip of fucking whatever the fate birth planet scene was about, like, maybe this will be the one. Like, no, you need to see publicly as everyone stares at you and then turns away. You need a turning of the shoulder to feel what you've done. Yeah, absolutely. We asked for the slop, but that doesn't. There's no rules. No rules. Anything can happen, including what we decide to stick with or not. You know. And anyways, every once in a while, you know, you get something where you're like, oh, okay, this is like a long video, but it's like, okay, let's do a little segment. We can talk about Astartes for a minute.
Sometimes a long video can be good. I watched. I had like an argument with my stream where I was like, "We're gonna watch the internet historian video about caves." Yes, it is over an hour long, and everyone's like, "No, it's too long. Shut up." 10 minutes in, everyone is the most rapt with attention anyone's ever been, because if you have not seen the internet historian video about caves, you should. It's the craziest story ever told. And told well.
I don't think I have seen it.
Oh, it's fucking incredible. However, I don't know about you, Wooly. I'm not claustrophobic. I would actually describe myself as claustrophilic. I like sitting in corners.
Yeah.
I like sitting in small rooms.
Yes.
I find enclosed spaces pleasant. Cave
to a degree. Yeah.
Cave shit just inverts that to nightmare on a way that makes you like just kind of breathe heavy just talking about it.
Yes.
It's wildly upsetting.
I think we've discussed it before. I love like being, when my bed is in the corner, I love being against the wall on the corner of my bed.
Great. It's
love
great.
that. Love that spot. I'm down with like laying in crevices and things like that. That's all fun. No problems there. When I see the picture of the climber that fell into the crack and couldn't get out, the deepest, most horrible, like stinging in the back of my brain.
For me, it's like the guys you see. There's so many of these videos. Like, we're exploring a new part of the cave. All right, so to make progress, I have to suck in my chest and exhale so that I can crawl 1 inch forward. And you're like, come on.
Yeah. No, it's when it's or like the trapped kids stuff where it's like you had to go up into like a ridiculous curved crevice and come down into an opening, you know? And then you're like, "Uh-oh, how are we getting back out the other way?" Like that, or there's water involved, like just fucking
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's beyond nightmare.
So yeah, if you find that to be a nightmare, you should definitely watch that video about caves.
Okay.
It is the most upsetting thing in the fucking world. So yeah, your week's been nothing but drinking and pissing.
Yeah, a little bit of that. I'll give a shout out. I've been, now that the Yomi Hustle update has allowed people to download characters and stages real easy and quick. Custom content is just like flying. So you can just jump over to the Steam Workshop and just click subscribe on a bunch of stages and on a bunch of characters, and then you just bam, just like that, good to go. You turn on the modded version of the game, of course. It's kind of turning into like a Mugen-esque Wild West right now. It's kind of wild.
Well, you were talking about this a couple weeks ago, where like the people modding it have like a gentleman's agreement that they're all going to stay within the general parameters of the aesthetic.
Yeah,
and the aesthetic's simple.
Yes.
So yeah, you could Mugen that shit to hell.
90% of what you see is fitting that aesthetic of like a silhouette of a character you know, and maybe some details where like, oh, you can see a unique sword or a unique kind of hair or something about them is unique in their stance, their pose. You're going to read the silhouettes though. Backgrounds are going to keep it simple. But every once in a while, someone just goes, fuck it, I'm putting Hit from Dragon Ball in the game. And it's just Hit.
I'm just gonna do it.
And it's like, oh, he does Hit's moves, and he does the time stop, and he does the freezing and the teleporting. And yeah, and we're like, okay, we're at Mugen now. We're at that point. People have created a whole bunch of really cool OCs though. And yeah, it is like not at all balanced. You're gonna see some wild dumb shit, but as long as you're on board with that, I've never gone into the modded side of Yomi Hustle until this week, and they're doing some real stylish shit. I gotta say, they're doing a really cool thing with some characters where the high effort into the art means we're working with silhouettes, therefore it's going to be stick figure, but it's going to move extremely smoothly with a like really detailed series of animations every time it attacks or does an intro or something fun like that, you know. Really fancy exploding hit sparks and all the type of shit you would want to see off of again, taking it back to your old stick figure fighting from the Flash era of Newgrounds, Monty fights, you know, all of that cool stuff is going down, especially hard with the modded characters. So yeah, just a fun twist on the game, and a lot of people kind of coming up with like concept fighting game characters in a way, you know, like if you like, there's one character that has like a whole yin and yang system, and like you can switch between two move sets, and then when you use them enough, you eventually can balance the two to create like a third form that is like unlocking both powers and buffed and stuff, you know.
Okay, that's a lot more in depth than I was expecting you to describe.
Oh yeah, no, like they're really doing tons of shit with it. Absolutely. It's quite impressive, you know. Like the Michael Jackson Moonwalker bit is like a fun little like, you know, introduction to the idea, but people are making subsystems that are like pretty complex, you know. Yeah, so, you know, just shout outs to that. That's still pretty fun. I'm looking at that like, if I was me in high school, I might have sat down and started fucking throwing some characters into this thing.
Well, just pretend you're you in high school now and just throw on display capture and be like, hey gang, let's make a goddamn anime.
That was a lifetime ago. What needs to happen is we need to wait for the next phase of this, where someone stops playing the game and starts making it just about the replays, and then you make a salty bet type situation.
Yeah.
Where the only way that Mugen lives on is in the form of a random goofy ass fucking Twitch stream, you know. Yeah, anyways, we're gonna be continuing Hi-Fi Rush and Mass Effect, albeit at a slower pace, as mentioned. Gonna be doing a lot more health stuff, so streams will be a little infrequent. This week I'm gonna be in, I think we're just gonna get 2 streams in this week, so I'll post a schedule afterwards once I verify some stuff. But either way, those 2 games are going to continue, and yeah, it's gonna be a bit tricky to get some fighting game stuff done, but I want to get Samurai Showdown. I want to get a session in there. And some other stuff we're kind of like planning, talking to some people and seeing what we can do. So for now, though, 1 or 2 streams of the LPs this week. Wooly versus the Algorithm as well. Fun shorts dropping over there. Some of the segments from Wooly versus whatever already getting ready to go. Fun times when someone submits a 4-minute fighting game video and we get a 10-minute discussion out of it. Shout outs to that's what we do.
Dude,
that's what we do over here.
I think my favorite part of watching your content on my React stream was someone made that joke in my chat during the bit, and then you stopped to explain something in the Sonic females, at which point I stopped you in your explanation in your video.
Correct.
To explain something myself.
Yes.
Which was actually to talk about the wife's predilection to stop films when we're watching films to explain or tell me a detail about, and it took that fucking 8-minute Sonic video into like 40 minutes because of the multiple stacks of stop and explain.
I mean,
there's no way around it.
There isn't, but as long as it's interesting, I don't mind, and I certainly know that I'm also I prefer to do that more than just if it's just a play beginning to end of someone else's video, and then I go ha, and then we end it. That kind of is just like, well, you just played a video, right?
Well, for me, it depends how long it is, right? If it's 3 minutes long, okay, we can wait. I can wait. I can hold my thoughts in my mind.
Yeah.
If it's more than 8 minutes, I'm not going to be able to.
Well, I think of the term free use and transformative content, right? And I think of right.
That's you mean fair use, don't you?
Yes, I do. I mean fair use. Yes, I think of the term fair use and and transformative content, where the goal is to be able to take that content in whatever form it is
and do whatever you want with it
at any time of day, no matter what's happening, no matter what's going on, 24/7, you can talk over the content and transform it into something. And you can transform the content into something that originally was not there, and in that case, you're probably going to be fine because, you know, you've critiqued or said something or whatever, and you've added something to it more than just playing it itself for what it was. Anytime. So I don't mind pausing and talking over things.
I get what you're saying.
I gotta use the bathroom again.
Yeah? Are you serious?
I literally do.
Oh my god. Okay, have fun.
Right.
And we're back. Is it really that often? That seems like inconvenient as hell.
No. It's not that often, but I am like chugging my second liter right now. So it's once this is done, it's probably going to be back.
Well, once you're done with that bottle, you can just use the bottle.
That is always on the option. That is always on the table. Yes. Anyways, I was just trying to wrap it up and say good stuff over on the second channel. Check that out. And as well as the exciting conclusion, season finale of Gone in 60 Seconds has gone up yesterday as well. So Yeah, there you go. There you go,
Does the
folks.
season finale denote like you finishing like a batch of episodes or what?
Technically, the end of the first season has occurred. Yes.
Oh, seriously? Oh, well, how do you like it?
Yeah.
Or is that contained therein?
It is definitely contained therein.
Okay.
So, all right. What's going on your side?
Oh, let me think. And by think, I mean look at the video production tab on my Twitch stream so that I can remember what I did. All right, so you remember when I made the whole point of making like a custom DMC Steam input profile for Paige so that you wouldn't have to mash and destroy your hands? Ran into some weird problems on that you might actually have some empathy for. The woman presses the L3 all of the time. I remember when we played Dark Souls, depending on the game and depending on how sensitive the jump was, you would just occasionally, maybe once every like 20 episodes, just throw yourself to your doom by moving too quickly and pressing the L3 and launching yourself into a pit.
Yep.
In Devil May Cry, this manifests as locking onto an enemy, moving towards the enemy, and then immediately switching targets to a different enemy so that your attack does not aim at the enemy that you wanted it to. So we're able to figure out how to mitigate that by putting L3 as press only, which you might actually want to look into yourself, Wooly.
As a Steam profile.
Yeah, Steam profile.
Okay.
Like, also discovered, did you know in Devil May Cry 3 that if you hold down L3, like click it in and hold it for 5 seconds, the lock-on cursor turns off?
Whoa. Did you
know that?
Not at all.
Yeah, no one did. But Paige managed to find it because she'd be playing and her fucking lock-on cursor would just fucking go. It would just go away.
Huh.
And it took me a while to figure out what the fuck was happening because she would be clicking in. She's death gripping this shit so hard that L3 is clicked in like permanently, like as a state. And weirdly enough, I made all these contingencies so that the woman wouldn't have to mash hard and screw up her wrists. She's doing back to back stingers into million stabs by accident. I put the game on myself after the stream. I can't do them on purpose.
Because you accidentally get stabs every time.
No. She's doing the stabs. Like the DMC3 mash stab
the full, yeah.
On every stinger by accident. And I'm like, so I go,
that's
how are
the
you
death
doing
grip.
that? She goes, I don't know why I'm doing it. I go, no. I'm not asking you why you're doing it. I'm asking you how you are doing it, because I can't do 3 million stabs out of stinger back to back on purpose.
You need the death grip.
So yeah, she's death gripping it the shit.
Yeah.
Aside from death gripping it,
I approve.
That woman has pointed her skills in. That woman is just all points into strength. Okay, you remember DMC3 relatively well.
Sure.
Beat Agni and Rudra in 2 shots. Beat Vergil in 3. On the first time through, took almost 25 minutes to defeat the puzzle in which you go to the doors marked a baby crawls and then a man stands and then an old man on a cane.
God. Resident Evil puzzles. Yes.
Then did the technique challenge, with the spikes?
Sure.
Using Trickster, but using the dash in between the spikes and then not using it on the spikes, just jumping through all of them. Like the correct way to do it by accident. Don't know what's going on. I can't figure it out at all.
Doing the secret missions too?
Secret missions are providing a trouble.
Okay.
Some of them she's flying through, others are bordering on impossible.
Okay.
Yeah, don't understand this girl. It's either the easiest thing in the world for something difficult, or it's the most difficult thing ever for a child's puzzle. It makes no sense. Don't get it. Fascinating. I also just happened to fly through Devil May Cry 4 myself again. Just I wanted to play Lady and Trish. I never went through a full campaign as Lady and Trish, so I went through Dante and Nero. Get all the blue orbs.
You forget how long those intro cutscenes are, don't you?
I skipped every single one.
Oh, okay.
In Devil May Cry 4.
Fair.
Devil May Cry 4 feels really good. I mentioned it last time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Devil May Cry 4's levels are really bad. Like all the way through, and it has easily the worst secret missions out of all of them.
So I remember the secret mission issues, especially like the stuff like not having the grab and hold, but still having the challenge and stuff like that. The
secret missions in DMC4 are like all awful. They're terrible.
Some levels I remember fondly. Others I feel like were not there was not much going on. Like I feel like the entire courtyard and then hallway around Bale, for example,
that's all right.
It was all right. And I also, it's pretty linear, but the area, the straight line of like floating divine kind of like cathedrals up until Credo.
Mm-hmm.
I like those rooms too. Those were fun.
Yeah. So like going through it again, because everyone's like, wow, Dante's levels are just the same levels but backwards. No, they're actually much worse versions of those levels but backwards. In particular, like when you get to the forest jungle area.
The forest! Everything about the forest is completely
every single room has a guy that attacks you on the floor and zaps you into a different room.
Fuck the entire forest! Absolutely,
it's legitimately terrible. And also the little dude, the little bug dudes that grab a hold of like the other enemies and then will slash on them, which means you can't combo them unless you shoot them a bunch.
Yeah,
like
the vines.
Terrible. And then you get to the castle with Dante and you're having to go through the underground, but you're being poisoned the whole time, and you're having to do like fucking what do you call it? You're having to do like all these complicated ways around the existing stage because it was iced over or it was iced over or it was blocked or whatever. Terrible. And then like Savior, way worse than I remember.
Every time we have this talk, to me I'm just like, I just remember it as we're trying to do a better version of Mundus battle. And I was like, yeah, and then you can DRI it. So
barely succeeded.
Yeah.
Barely.
Yeah.
And then getting to Sanctus and like Sanctus blows.
I like the part where you snatch and stay in the air chasing Sanctus around a lot. That part is fucking sick.
Yeah.
And then breaking the glass and then dunking him is super satisfying.
Here's something really fun. So I was fighting the first Sanctus version, and I'm like, because of the way Proud Souls work, you don't necessarily have all your moves, right? In fact, you could probably only have like half, right? And I was like, I wonder what the Sanctus boss fight feels like if you don't have caliber to do Nero's air dash.
Oh yeah. No, fuck that.
And guess what?
Yeah.
It fucking blows.
If you don't have your air stinger, fuck that. Admittedly, but
blows.
And you know what too? I could see that fight going a lot better with like DMC5 Nero, who has like way more air options and like the ability to fucking just get in. But overall, though, I don't look back on that as a sour point. I feel like I'm pretty hyped for the chase and then the punch and then the buster opportunities. The big old fuck you, of course, and sick and tired of your bullshit.
Yeah, that's fun, but the part where you do the grab on him, but like overall, it's just like Devil May Cry 4 is the only game in which the final boss is like exactly the same as the boss you fought earlier. Right? He has Sparta, but he's not functionally any different. He's just a little stronger. And oh man, that game is really like interesting and fun until you switch over to Dante. And even Dante, so I remember talking about how I don't like playing as Dante in Devil May Cry 4. And I was talking about that on Twitter, and I got some feedback about parts of his moveset that I couldn't quite put into words prior. Every move Dante does in Devil May Cry 4 knocks enemies away. Right? And that's the case in 3 and 5 as well, right? The difference is that Trickster is bad in Devil May Cry 4. You don't go as fast, you don't go as far, and your cooldown is longer than it is in 3 or 5. And so it's actually harder to catch up to dudes. Granted, you could Royal Guard fly and blah 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 blah, but I'm talking like
I was gonna say like, well,
human player.
yeah, like you could always just start guard flying and then fucking do what you want. But no, this was initially the thing that made me like really fall in love with Nero and cement it, is just the snatch and the ability to get back in. Stingering over and tricking over to enemies is still a thing, but you're still ultimately chasing them as they're getting knocked away from you. And like Nero is about bringing the momentum back. It's and I think like it's interesting you're describing this, because I had a lot of fun with some of the fights that you're talking about there. But like I think there's a really great example in Echidna, where I fucking hate fighting Echidna as Dante. I fucking love it as Nero. Fighting Echidna as Nero is great.
Yeah, fighting it as Dante is terrible.
You're just chasing her around and it sucks, man. And she's moving and swirling and doing the whole bit. And with Nero, you get the timing of like mini games of latching on when she gets right to you. You get the ability to break her out of her pattern and then get a launch into a full combo. You have time for a maximum bet if you just perfectly time it. Like it's so sick getting in and staying in on her because of your snatch ability. It's the same boss, same pattern. It's your tools that changes how fun it is.
Also, and this is obviously going to be to taste, right? Dante's weapons in Devil May Cry 3, aside from, I'm going to say Spiral and Nevin, are excellent. I fucking love them. I think they're all great. Lucifer, Gilgamesh, and Pandora fucking suck. And that is his entire non-standard moveset.
But Gilgamesh has the Dreadnought
Gilgamesh
form.
has distorted real impact, which is the replacement for Nero's grab, and is a bug, and is not like Gilgamesh. Like, here's the thing about Gilgamesh, right? I don't like any of the basic moveset, but I love distorted real impact. But it's really frustrating when I go to fight Burial, and I'm just biding my time before I can do 70% of his fucking health with distorted real impact.
Yes, there is that, but. I again, like you got the cool shit. Like the idea behind Pandora as well is like, I think better on paper than in execution. I would have liked to have seen that come back and been like fully fleshed out in DMC5 style, you know, with the full 666 demons type thing. But overall, I do feel that, like, to me, that's just kind of what Dante's kit sort of is. And that's why I always kind of gravitate elsewhere, you know, because I'm just like, okay, he's going to have, and in 5 is definitely the best version of it, and having him,
I mean, it's
no question.
We don't even need to
talk about it. Yeah. But the other thing too is we bring it up all the time, but it's like, obviously the fact that you only fight fucking Credo once and that you only do so as Nero, you know, means you don't get like what could be one of the best experiences in that game fully fleshed out. And and I wish there was a reason why we on paper for that we knew about, but like that's one of those fights you could fucking absolutely bring back later on and enjoy the evolution of that battle. You know, they picked a VERGIL, they put him in the game, and then they just didn't actually follow through on it. I guess because DANTE was kind of supposed to be that rival step as well, and yeah, you know. Plus, we knew it was short on time.
Yeah, no, the two best bosses in the game are the only ones you fight once. You fight Bael and Echidna 3 times. You fight Sanctus twice. You fight Savior once, thank God. But you fight Credo and Dante once each.
Yeah.
Right at the middle of the game. It's so strange.
Agnes is pretty fucking bad.
Oh yeah, you fight Agnes twice. No, you fight Agnes 3 times.
Agnes sucks too.
You fight Agnes 3 times. That's terrible.
Agnes is really annoying. The only thing, but like I latch on to specific memories, right? And I latch on to the rhythm of grabbing one of the swords out of the air and fucking launching it. Like, that is a really satisfying thing. But ultimately, Agnes for a repeat battle is just like, why the fuck would you choose this one to have you fight 3 fucking times? Yeah.
And plus the window. It's maybe the shittiest boss fight in Devil May Cry ever, where you just fight a window.
Burial's great. I have no problems with Burial.
Yo, Burial is great. I think Burial is by far the best of the normal demon bosses. It's just like I go through it and I'm playing through Devil May Cry 4 and I'm like, I'm miserable with these secret missions. They are terrible in 4. They are really quite awful. They are all like, you know how 5 is like, here's a fun challenge. In 4, they are all like, cheese it because it sucks. But like, our memories of 4 are so weird because Nero's there and Nero fucking rules, and Nero's half of the campaign is great, and then Dante's is less than great. But then your final memory of most of your time with Devil May Cry 4, depending when you played it, is playing Bloody Palace with Nero, which is awesome. That if that game did not have the really good Bloody Palace that it has, like, it would be remembered very less fondly. That thing is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
So I clocked in more time with VERGIL in Special Edition later in Bloody Palace than I did, I think, originally. And that's where a lot of my memory is now. Because, yeah, well, you know, just the ride all the way up to get your ass fucking royal guarded is a fucking committed ass journey. Yeah, I like looking back on it. There's these little moments where you're like, okay, they could have made things a bit better. They could have paced things out better, and a lot of that definitely could have come from making Dante feel more fun, and as well as like the part where the parts that I remember fondly is, again, with Nero, is just like working towards that Buster moment, you know. And for Dante, I wish that he could have had something similar to that. You know, you can ultimately you can open them up to the point where you get a DRI, right? Or you can open them up to the point where you get, you know, a full Dance Macabre or whatever like maximum damage thing you'd like to do. But like, but the like pop off that is the full unique Buster sequence with each boss is one that like it just shoots Nero's like gameplay fun memory way through the top on a lot of that stuff.
Well, here's where it gets really weird, because like I didn't play a full campaign of VERGIL, but when VERGIL came out for DMC4 SE, I fucked around with him. Like, wow, this is a really fun character with a really cool concentration mechanic, and he feels really strong, and he's got lots of cool shit, right? I've been playing through Lady's campaign, and Lady is in SE, 4SE is the fucking thing that I hoped fucking Gunslinger had always been. Lady is a fucking blast. Like, her shotgun will knock down every enemy in Devil May Cry 4. that I have hit it with. It's so strong.
The best round trip anyone has ever had, ever. And if
Sorry, the best stinger anyone's ever had.
and if
She has
I'm
Lady has the best stinger in Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Because she does the shotgun one where she dashes forward, hits the shotgun stinger, and then shoots again to go back to where you started.
Excuse me, no, Trish with the round trip, my mistake.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken too, doesn't Trish also have the old school twosome time with the guns as well? Like I think she has like the like you could actually like pick out 2 targets and shoot them, like there's something to that effect where she has more utility on her guns as well. Like Trish and Lady got a bunch of shit that you're like, oh, I guess Dante doesn't get these, but sure.
Yeah, so it's
you
really
know?
it's really fucked because I'm playing Devil May Cry 4 and there are 5 fucking characters in that game. And they're all fucking great. Except for Dante. Like
He's
I
from
am
the
having
original.
so much more fun playing Lady and Trish than I am playing Dante. And those characters were edited like years after the fact, and they were like, it's so silly. It's so weird.
It is one of these cases though of just like years later, right? They gave it the time of day, and it's super cool that they even bothered. Fucking almost a decade on.
I am now re-upset about Ladies Night DLC not happening because, like, hey, straight up next Devil May Cry game, Nero, Lady, and Trish.
It would be so
go.
It would be so easy. Like talking about the whole Ladies Night bit. It would be so easy to come up with a move list for Nico. Like it would just be all of her tool nonsense and a fucking van.
She'd play like her dad.
You know. Oh, bug shit?
She would,
Agnes stuff?
Yeah, but instead of summoning demons, she would be summoning drones and robots and mechanical.
I see. I want the van to be like the majority of what she's doing.
It's a bit big, don't you?
And we're not cowards, okay? And we're not fucking cowards here. We commit to the bit. If Dante can ride a fucking motorcycle and swing it around, there's no reason a van can't show up and be a weapon at the same time. Hell no.
So yeah, going back to DMC4 SE, I'm like, man, I'm so glad we have Devil May Cry 5 with, like, I mean, V's kind of half-baked, but like the other 3 are fucking stellar.
I enjoy it, but it's different. It's not you don't go play V for the same game.
V's great, but he doesn't have enough.
I will agree with that.
So
more
Nero
would have been better.
Has the different arms. He has Snatch. He has his DT. He has his Exceed. He has the post game thing. Dante has 4 fucking styles and 4 weapons, and then the addition of Sin DT, and then Virgil has concentration, Sin DT, Doppelganger.
V needs a mechanic introduced that makes your brain go like the moment you get the extra arms with the Nero DT, or the moment you get the Devil Sword Dante, right? Like that little extra level of like, okay, I'm overwhelmed, right? V needs one of those.
He needed one more like bar
thing.
Honestly. So yeah, going through the DMC games and seeing their strengths and weaknesses is fucking fascinating. Played more Octopath Traveler 2. That game's gigantic. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get through it. It's fucking enormous. I'm pathologically stealing everything from everyone in every town. It's fucking great.
Just play it the way the devs intended.
Yeah. Now it feels like the devs intended for you to get all 8 before going on.
Okay.
Because it had the difficulty jump from like, because like you'll have like a path, between 2 towns, and it'll say danger level 8. And I'm like, oh, that means I should be approximately level 8, right? Okay, so I'm approximately level 8 across the party, and it's fine, like normal random battle stuff, right? And then the next, path over says danger level 14, and I go, well, okay, I assume that's approximate level 14, so I'll be approximately level 14 when I get there. And then I get there, and every single fucking hit from every random enemy does 60% of a character's health, and I fucking game over within one random battle of walking onto that path. And I literally had to ask for advice, and the answer is use your path actions to steal, borrow, scrimp, save, and upgrade every piece of gear you possibly can, and as soon as you hit that period, the game is expecting you to use every bag of tricks your guys have on every battle. They're
Okay.
expecting you to, like, hey, you have a warrior? Okay, you're going to load him up with defensive shit, and you're going to use the taunt ability at the beginning of the fight so that he's the only one who takes damage, and then you're going to use everybody else's bullshit so that by the time you get to town, everyone is near dead or running out of, like, all their magic points, and hey, congrats, you made it to town. Right? It wants you to fight your ass off, which is kind of refreshing considering most RPGs are, like, fairly easy. Moving on. Hey, I went back to Total Warhammer 3. I only mention this because that series has had the weirdest review scale situation ever, in that Total Warhammer 2 was beloved and had some of the best DLC any game has ever received, and then Total Warhammer 3 came out, and not a single improvement that had ever come out in the past 2 years since the prior game's release was included, and it felt like a massive step back. The UI was worse, the pathing on every unit was worse, the way you build things was worse, the way upgrades worked is worse, the way unit titles and displayed was worse. It was crazy. And it came out to mostly negative reviews, because it's like, why would I play this when I could play the old one that feels better? And now, after a year of work, all the way back up to very positive. I loaded it up. Controlling units feels better. They redid the UI. It's no longer an ugly mess. The fucking Immortal Empires campaign is now in, where you can play as every single thing. Most of the bugs have been fixed. It's zany. It reminds me of how Civilization games come out.
Is
Where,
there
like,
a way to track the Steam overall rating, positivity
yeah,
versus negativity on a
absolutely.
time chart?
Over time. Yeah. So when you go to Steam and you see, like, recent reviews very positive, if you click on very positive, it'll bring you down to the reviews, and then underneath recent reviews you can click show graph, and it will show you the graph of the recent reviews. And if you click on the whatever the title it is for reviews of all reviews, you can still, like, hit graph, and it'll tell you, like, February 08, February 15, February 22. I don't know how
Date
far you can
range,
go back.
show
Yeah.
graph. Oh, there it is. Interesting. I see. Okay, so you know exactly how you're getting.
Yeah, you can get, like,
evaluated.
the fucking breakdown of, like, exactly how that went down over time. And you can also see massive fucking shit spikes.
Yeah, interesting.
So, like, every now and then there's a patch that just ruins a game entirely and makes it a completely unplayable mess. And you see this massive shit
Yeah,
spike of red.
interesting. I've never seen this. Okay, that's
Yeah, you can look at that on, like, every
cool.
game on Steam. It is fascinating. You can also see, like, hey, this is when a YouTuber said the game was interesting,
Right, right.
and you'll see this massive spike. It's fascinating.
Oh, let me go see it for like
Um,
Among Us.
yeah, you mean Among Us?
Among Us,
Among Us.
like the ultimate and just nothing spike.
Yeah. So yeah, Total Warhammer is now mostly complete, and that is, like, the biggest game,
Mm-hmm.
like, I have on my PC. Because what they did is they have that Immortal Empires campaign, which goes, okay, every faction that was in the first game or the second game and any DLC you've ever owned for any of them is now in this campaign for the third one, which includes, like, you basically click on it and get, like, every faction that is in old-fashioned Warhammer total, and then you click on one of them and, like, here's the 5 to 10 different starting generals for each of these factions that all start in different locations with different army types. Like, people in the chat saying 22 races with 5 to 10, like, generals each, and most of those have different types of campaigns. and each of those campaigns is like a full regular ass game. It's
how much are you spending if you're buying the full thing with all the packs that have come out?
a lot. So get them on sale. Or
yeah,
I've heard that there's a way to unlock these somehow. That's not on the up and up. But this is
$260 Canadian.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
right, well.
these things go on sale during every Steam sale, and they drop about like 80% of the price.
Okay.
So that's when you would get them. Unless you're a person who's way into this kind of thing and just picked all of these up piecemeal as they came out over the past like 8 years. Yeah, really cool game. Wooly, have you been paying attention to Wo Long?
I got a code for Wo Long.
Yeah.
I didn't. It was just like, hey, do you want a code? And I was like, sure. And it was one of those like, you know, play it if you want or not. It's up to you. And I didn't play it yet. But seeing as it's of the pedigree of the other Team Ninja stuff, I was curious about it. But I remember the trailer seemed to be, it was more of a straight narrative Sekiro style thing instead of a like custom character bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, you're playing a custom character, and everybody is
okay.
Everybody is acting around you. You're some guy, and but you're important. It's like, did you play Neo 2 at all?
2, no.
Okay, because Neo 2 had the same thing where you were like some dude, but you're magic or something shit.
Okay.
Whatever.
Looks fucking hot though. Like I'm very curious to see that and where that fits in with this whole, you know, Neo 2, Stranger of Paradise, all that jazz.
So I also received a code. But for me it was, I asked a guy, I'm like, hey, can I get a code for Wo Long? And he was like, here you go. And he gave me the PC code. And then I played that for about 30 minutes. And then I asked him for a PS5 code instead. So first of all, talking about Steam reviews, fucking don't play fucking Wo Long on PC.
Mostly negative.
Koei Tecmo PC port strikes again. Neo 2 was an outlier. Just straight up, just don't. If you play it on a console.
Wild Hearts once again.
Yeah.
Same problems.
Similar, not as bad, but similar. Play it on a console. Some people are having no problems, as it always is the case for PC, but it's just like, it's weird because Neo 2 had an excellent PC port. Very good PC port. So obviously take my opinions for Wo Long with a grain of salt, because I received 2 copies of the game for free. And also take with a grain of salt that I don't like the Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
The setting itself.
I like really, really strongly dislike the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I think it is the most overdone, boring, shit-ass historical period to fucking have like 400 games in. And I'm wondering if Dynasty Warriors' horrible presentation had something to do with it.
Holy shit, I'm sorry. I just fucking realized that Wo Long is not Rise of the Ronin. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, you fucking dumb bitch!
Oh,
no,
God.
No, I wish! I fucking wish! No!
I got so confused for a second. Okay. No.
No, you go look at video of this.
Rise of the Ronin was announced at State of Play last year, right?
That's
and Wo
That's
Long.
Team Ninja's Assassin's Creed-ish ninja game.
Which one was Wo Long?
Wo Long. Hold on, I'm just gonna send you the fucking.
Well, not which
IGN
one was
review.
it? More just like, was there where was this revealed at a
This was revealed a couple years ago. So yeah, here, just skim through this footage. It's from a bird's eye view looking at it. you could confuse it with Neo, like the camera is in the same angle and it looks like the buttons.
Yeah, I don't remember, guys. I don't remember ever seeing a trailer for this game. I remember the recent Team Ninja one. I don't remember this.
Hold on. So, before we start, I'm going to point out I don't know what it is with this game. I don't like it very much. For some reason, me saying I do not like this game very much has earned me like more backlash than almost any game I have shit on in the past like 2 years.
Okay.
I genuinely don't understand. I'm going to guess it's that people who love the Three Kingdoms
it looks like Neo China. Yeah.
It very much looks like Neo China.
Yeah.
In terms of feel, like moving around and hitting the buttons, it feels exactly like Neo. It like moving, hitting buttons, locking on, moving the camera, sound effects. It feels just like Neo. It doesn't play just like Neo. It plays like Sekiro in Neo's engine. Neo's stance switching is gone, and Neo's stamina recovery mechanic is gone. They still have the gear stuff, so you're still picking up lots of items that have the stats and stuff on it. But it's been changed so that you have square and triangle are your attacks. Square is light attacks, and triangle is a heavy attack. And as you do damage with your light attacks, you build up spirit, i.e. posture, and you cash out that damage on a heavy attack. And that does extra, let's say it's spirit damage, so let's say posture damage. As well, there is a parry in the game, and parry's on circle, and it is an incredibly powerful and easy to use parry. The window's pretty generous. When you parry off of people, you significantly decrease their spirit, and if they do like a huge, like gigantic red attack, you know, that you parry, they will lose most of their spirit bar, and in fact the maximum spirit bar will decrease, and then you can beat on them and, you know, do like a not a cutscene attack, but like a grapple attack to them.
What replaces stance switching?
Nothing.
Ow.
The spirit system that I just described to you,
I guess. Okay.
So when you're fighting, you have your square light attacks, which are a canned combo like a Dark Souls, and then you have your spirit attack, which is your heavy attack, and that's it. And you also have you hold R1 and you can do like a special attack, like a flip and then a slam, or something like a weapon art in Dark Souls that is unique to each weapon. And sometimes different weapon types can have slightly different variations. The overall amount of like moves that you're actually using are like much lower than Neo.
Okay.
Because it's more focused on parrying and parrying people's strikes and parrying people's big attacks and moving this spirit bar up and down, like kind of like Sekiro. I really strongly don't like it for a lot of reasons. For one, it feels, looks, and sounds way less polished than Neo. It looks, feels, and sounds way less polished than Neo 1. Like, this feels like the game that came out, and then Neo 1 was the sequel. Do you know kind of what I'm getting at?
Yeah, as if this is, like, they built off of this to get that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like,
okay.
Like, it just...
I mean, when you're describing a simplified combat system, that already kind of is, like, surprising, because, like, yeah, if you're not going to have like stance switching, then it's like, okay, do you have an expanding move list of things you unlock over time? Not necessarily. So behind each parry is like, I guess, just like how much is put into the parry system, I guess, is my question.
The parry system is like a huge proportion of the game's combat. And a huge issue that is going to be to taste. I don't like the parry at all. It's really lenient, and okay, so you know, I was having this argument back and forth because I was trying to describe feel, right? So in Dark Souls, a parry feels like a deflect, right? It feels like you going like knocking something out of your face, and it has that boom sound effect when you do it, right? And it feels a certain way. In Sekiro, the parry feels like a clash, right? You're clashing, and enemies are trying to hammer you down, and you are clashing with them until they break, right? In Wo Long, the parry feels like a slide, and that feels appropriate with its setting because it's Chinese, like Three Kingdoms, like sword stuff. So it feels like you put your sword up and then you slide out from under the way, because when you parry you can go to the left or right. You slide off their hit.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It feels, it does, I don't like it. Like I don't like the way that it feels. And also the enemies, like there's bosses that will do their big gigantic red attack to hit you. And I went through the game's first 3 bosses. I had a lot of trouble with the first one, but the second and third, if you parry the boss's stuff, which is easier than you would think because the parry is actually excellent, you wash them. Like the third boss in this game, I just washed on my first attempt because I just parried its big pig's tusks, and it just feels really dumbed down. Where, like, yes, I'm parrying, and then after I parry it, I hit my light attack, and then I cash out my light attack for my strong attack, and then I go back to parrying, and it just, like, there's a magic system, right? It's there. It's easier to use than Neo's. It feels like, oh, that's, somebody made a really good point. It feels like I'm playing a game in which every enemy is Gwyn.
Okay. Yeah, the slide parry description, like, I'm trying to think of, there's a game there's a game that I can't put my finger on, but like I'm thinking of there's a counter where like there's a time stops and you kind of dodge to the side and then resume attacking.
Yeah, there's no time stop. It is a slide. Like, it is like
Okay.
it's very smooth.
Okay. If you just swung at your enemy and then jumped around and like didn't use that system, would you never be able to cash out the damage to realistically beat the boss based on how hard they are? Like,
if you do not parry things, you will die. It is like a gigantic mechanical advantage.
how hard are bosses hitting you? Like in this,
really, really, really hard.
Soul's hard. Neo hard.
And you can block.
Yeah,
but blocking decreases your spirit, and if your spirit gets low enough, you'll get posture broken, and then the boss will beat on you.
Breath of the Wild. Sorry, Breath of the Wild is what I'm thinking of, where you where you kind of sidestep and then attack after a counter.
It's just this weird thing of like, is it a bad game? No, absolutely not. But it's a game in which I don't like the setting, and it doesn't feel as good. So I described it does not feel as good as the game of its type that came out like 2 years ago, right? And I saw other people mention it, like, oh, okay, I went and loaded up Neo 2 to play it, and I see what you're saying. So I went, oh, okay. So I went back and switched between the two, and like Neo 2 just feels more polished and just feels better in the hands, in addition to having a million times more depth. And it just seems weird. And then I find out that the people who made Neo 1 and Neo 2 are making Rise of the Ronin. And this game is made by a slightly different team at Team Ninja.
Interesting.
And I'm like, oh, this is the Dark Souls 2 of Neo.
The other guys.
And I don't think this, like, the way that I'm sure the game has improvements later on. I'm sure there are bosses that are not a joke later on. But I got a really, really negative experience after playing it for about 2.5, 3 hours. And most of that was like, I don't like how this game feels.
Okay.
Right? And it's really weird because people are like crazy about this game. Like, really intensely upset that some people do not like this game, and I can only attribute that to like the historical periods like fan base, because and this
I
is
mean,
inflammatory, there's a lot of people who played the shittiest Dynasty Warriors games ever because they like the setting, and those games are garbage.
I mean, could it just be that like people that are fans of the Neo games and like Strangers of Paradise and the games that kind of play that way are liking this for its similarities, but are not necessarily distinguishing between the more precise feel things you're describing?
I mean, it's very possible. Like, I saw folks that really disliked Sekiro talking about how this game was like a good version of Sekiro. And the way that I interpret that is that the parry button in this game is really, really, really easy and not strict.
I mean, as someone who did like point out things that I didn't like about Sekiro, but it does, in a broad sense, fit into the FromSoft feeling style game. Like I remember when people got real vexed at me over over those thoughts as well. I'm gonna boot this up and check it out. I installed it, but I didn't.
I mean, you got it for free. Why not?
Yet. Yeah.
Someone in the chat asks, and it's a good question, how do I feel about this towards Stranger of Paradise? I did not play very much of Stranger of Paradise. I played a couple of the demos. I would say that Stranger of Paradise feels much better than this game.
My comparison point right now is going to be Neo 1 because I have a bunch of time on that, but I don't have any on 2 yet. What you're describing of a parry, like I don't hate that necessarily. Like a dodge parry, like that's okay to me. The best feeling parry is the one where you are the rock, you stand still, you royal guard, nothing penetrates.
I think Devil May Cry 5's parry is the best parry I've ever had in a game.
I am going to be here, the world is going to throw things at me, and I'm going to be iframing through all of it with a large clang is the coolest thing ever. But the version of it that's more mobility based, I don't necessarily mind that on paper. I guess I'll have to feel it and see. The other question, I suppose, is are you able to use it in different contexts? For example, in midair.
I don't know if you can use it in midair. You're mostly grounded.
Okay.
And there's lots of little things about the game that annoyed me. Over like the one that I'll use as an example because it was like extraordinarily frustrating is that it takes place in the Three Kingdoms era, so they want you to hang out with all these historical figures. As a result, every single stage that I played pairs you up with the fucking AI partner by default who talks all the time and gets in your way and distracts the boss. And it's a really weird situation in which like I'm playing a game based on the Dark Souls template in which I don't want a guy distracting the boss because I want to parry the boss so that I can hurt the boss with my parry attacks. And also I hate all of the characters that they put near me. The voice acting in this game is bizarrely terrible. And when I say bizarrely terrible, I mean compared to the games that this company has made, like the past 3 or 4 games, the cutscenes and voice acting are astonishingly bad.
Dubbed, yeah.
That like we're talking like these would be appropriate in like 1999.
Is that like, what Dynasty
terrible.
Warriors is also like?
Kind of.
Yeah, okay.
Like it feels closer to like Dynasty Warriors 3 or 4 in terms of like dialogue and voice acting than it does like Neo or Stranger of Paradise. It's fucking weird. And they're pairing me with like they paired me with a mission with like Guan Yu and I think his brother. I don't know his name. And like within 30 seconds I'm walking along and they're just blah 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 with this terrible voice acting and I'm like, I hate you. I had to figure out how to go to the fucking bonfire equivalent and send them away because it was driving me fucking crazy. So yeah, no, this game is not for me, but more than that, like I'm just kind of baffled because Like, if you want a cool ass action game from Team Ninja, like, you are better off getting almost any of the games they have released in the past ever than this one.
Ouch. Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
Um,
I yeah. It's that's interesting.
Not Ninja Gaiden 3 original. Not that one.
I'm going into this. I have no real thoughts towards the Three Kingdoms period stuff. I mean, I know like Liu Bei and Lu Bu and
Don't pursue him.
Do not pursue. And a couple of other names come to mind. I remember my old roommate was like super hard in on the Dynasty Warriors games, as well as someone I worked with too was just like fucking all of them. But yeah, I mean anything that's coming off Neo pedigree certainly at least deserves a look. I want to see as well how much that system shines when, because there's two things to judge a game on, right? There's a game like this, an action game. You're gonna want to see how it feels fighting your enemies in the stage, and then you're gonna want to see how it feels when you're fighting a boss in the middle of a giant crazy set piece. You know?
Yeah. So I will say the boss at the end of the first level is pretty tough and is a fucking blast. Like that fight is the only time I had a really good time with the game, and I was then informed that is the hardest boss in the game.
Wow. Okay. Because that what I was about to think of, what I was about to say is like when I judge like Sekiro on its like stages, I'm really nonplussed by a bunch of it. But when I judge it on the amazing boss fights, I'm like, those are the highs. Those are the things I remember. Those are incredible, you know? So you get a real feel for like two aspects of the game when you contrast those to each other. Simplified combat, of course, I don't like the sound of that, but you know, I guess my other I'm like, but there's got to be like there's the magic system you described.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope that like between that and switching weapons, is that a thing? Like,
yeah, kind of. You can use you can switch weapons from your main hand to your offhand. So it's kind of like very much like Neo. Like you hold down the trigger or you hold down R1 and then you hit the D-pad. Also, I've been told that no, the first boss is not the hardest one. I was misinformed. My mistake, guys.
Are there many weapon types?
I found 3.
Okay.
4. There's a couple.
Okay.
So like I guess like you mentioned, like we mentioned Sekiro, it's like, and you mentioned dumbed down. It's like my tipping point for it is like I understand what they're going for. They're going for a simpler system that's like more intense and more focused, right? So it doesn't have all the moves that Neo does or Stranger of Paradise, right? But it doesn't feel as good as Sekiro. So it kind of lives in the in-between, which wasn't very satisfying to me. And
okay.
I will say, my opinions on game feel are really harsh. I think game feel and juice and like jump momentum are like the most important things in a game. I always use the experience of playing Sonic Generations' demo, jumping once and going, it's wrong, and then deleting the demo and then never playing Sonic Generations because it was wrong. They didn't feel right.
Yeah. I feel similar things. Although what is to taste for me might not necessarily overlap with what you're describing.
That being said, when I describe, I don't like the feel of hitting buttons in this game, and the response is, what are you talking about? It plays just like Sekiro. I cannot possibly take that person seriously because they don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm talking about the button, not the mechanic having a little bar on the screen. I'm talking about How far away is the camera? How far does the camera tilt when you lock on to somebody? How big is the lock on icon? How loud is the sound effect when you clash? What's the milliseconds of leniency on your parry clash? What's the sound effect on your parry clash? How fast do you accelerate when you move? How fast do you move when you sprint? Like one of the things that really bugged me, and I couldn't put my finger on it until the end of my stream, is that the running animation in that game is terrible. Like, it's a weird underwater run where his arms come up a little too close to his chest and they look like shit. And I'm like, is that a big deal? No. Is it annoying me every single second of playing the game? Yes, it is.
Boy, we're going to revisit this discussion about game feel momentarily when we jump to another news item.
Oh, yeah?
And some people are probably not gonna like it.
Ooh, I'm excited. Well, that's it for my week. If you want to check in more Pat stuff, you can go to twitch.tv/PatStaresAt. Tonight, when the patch notes go up, I'll read the 14 patch notes. Tomorrow is 6.35 in FF14. We'll be doing that. And then Wednesday, we're going to be doing Devil May Cry stuff on Paige's channel, twitch.tv/PeachSaliva. Then Thursday, there's going to be a Capcom fucking announcement thing where they show off more Capcom games, and then Friday will be more React crap, so come and check that out. I'm curious about what news story you're talking about. I'm having trouble placing it.
I'll jump to it right after this pee break.
Oh.
Okay. Let me just mark that down. Yeah.
Are you marking your pisses?
Well, I have to mark the time.
Really? You got a piss chart?
So that it's easier to cut later.
Oh! I thought what you meant was you just had a big old wall of piss on your wall, and you were like, "Here's the piss at this time, for your health stuff."
Not quite.
Oh, well, that's less fun.
Okay. Let's take a quick word from the sponsors while we're at it, since that's a decent place to do so.
Sure is.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by HelloFresh. And you know the deal. HelloFresh is about door-to-door fresh ingredients coming to you. That's the
you're mad
premise.
You can't eat HelloFresh right now, Wooly.
Well, you know, that's my choice. I'm gonna live by it, but I'm sure it will be a solid, tempting thing to see the wife use it, and then I'll be like, oh, I can't partake, but I can smell it, and it smells good.
And then a single tear will roll down your face.
That'll be that.
Like, maybe next time.
Yeah, you know, there's people that have done that. I remember hearing about how Ebert used to watch his wife eat food, and like that's how he would enjoy meals. You know, what are we talking about? HelloFresh is the way that you can get fresh shipments of food straight to your door, and of course pre-portioned ingredients of all the things you want to put together, so that you don't have to figure out how to cook it yourself. You just follow the step-by-steps and you get all the pre-proportioned, preset, the easiest 15-minute meals you can make that taste delicious. And of course, you can get them for 2 or for 4 to serve a family, whatever you want to do. Keep it simple. With HelloFresh, you also got the ability to choose between like how many every week? Like 30 plus? Like, it's a crazy amount every week of options that you can get delivered, whatever your preferences are. If you've got protein, vegan, vegetarian, balanced, whatever your tastes are, they've got something right for you. And of course, you can also save money because groceries tend to cost a lot more when stacked up against the prices of HelloFresh. You're going to get 25% less expensive than takeout in a lot of cases, too. So check them out. I know that while I'm not at the moment, I would certainly love to get back to that chicken pesto or those tacos. Those are good. And you get it in a box that's kept cool with these little cool, like, the cooling technology. It's pretty impressive stuff. So you can get in by going to hellofresh.com/superbeast60 and use code superbeast60 for 60% off plus free shipping. That's hellofresh.com/superbeast60, and you use the code superbeast60, and you're going to get 60% off plus free shipping from HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Thanks, HelloFresh.
Thanks, HelloFresh.
This week we're also sponsored by ExpressVPN, who are just always coming in the clutch. You know, this very week, again, I was browsing and I was on YouTube and I saw a link to a clip rather on YouTube, and it's like, you can't watch this in your country. And I'm like, fuck you.
Fuck you, I can't.
And I clicked the button and bam, ExpressVPN was like, yeah, I got you. Don't worry about it. It's if you're browsing on Netflix or on YouTube or anywhere that's keeping you out, it's like paying for a gym membership but only using the treadmill. What the hell? There's all this other stuff over there. Why can't I use that? Because you don't like where I am? Fuck off. You've got over 100 different server locations to choose from, so you get access to all the shows from those places. And it also applies to BBC iPlayer and a bunch of other streaming services that have the gall to deny you, a paying customer, the ability to see the content that you are paying for.
No BBC for you.
But I want it.
One.
Look at that. Click the button, and just like that, I'm in Downton Abbey.
Oh my god. How could he do this?
I'm on the River Thames. You're going to get your blazing fast speeds, 0 buffering, and HD streams. Works on your phone, laptop, media console, smart TVs, and more. And also encrypts your data so you can browse the web securely. Be smart. Stop paying full price for streaming services and only getting access to a fraction of the content. Get your money's worth at expressvpn.com/superbeast. And don't forget to use our link, expressvpn.com/superbeast, and you'll get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Thanks, ExpressVPN.
Thanks, ExpressVPN.
Okay. So you're talking about game feel, and you're talking about
game feel,
and when that bugs you in a lot of ways, and it brings a story to mind. Now, this is one that a lot of people I know are nostalgic for, but I gotta just preface that I don't have.
Oh fuck! I know what you're gonna talk about.
I don't have it. Yeah, they announced the new Budokai Tenkaichi game, and they showed off a trailer where Goku goes Super Saiyan 4, and I get it. A lot of people grew up playing that as their childhood bit, and I get that. I get that. It's just not that to me, though. Unfortunately, it ain't that to me. And I know some people are just like, hey man, that's my memories of playing Dragon Ball as a kid, and I'm like, all right. To me, the Budokai games came along originally. Those were like the fighting side-scrolling side camera games, which were also kind of like they're a bit slow with their pacing, but all Dragon Ball games kind of were really for a long time. Fighters solved a lot of that and fucking exists as a like, hey, someone did it at some point. But you go back to those games and you get a game where you kind of have a simple combo system and a couple of like mini game interactions of like knocking the character around and doing a little, RPS mini game and stuff like that. When I remember too, there was fun things like the story mode where it was like, oh, aim the special beam cannon so that you can shoot Raditz right through and get Goku at the same time and stuff. Anyway. I just remember when the Tenkaichi games came out, and it was like, okay, well, we're going to do them third person now, and they're going to be like
over the shoulder,
and it's going to be about like having the feeling of a third person action game with a Dragon Ball fighting type thing, and it just was not
felt great.
It was not what I wanted, man.
It felt fucking cool because you felt like you were flying around as Goku.
I remember the basic thing of like right off the bat, you sort of, and here's the thing, like I remember I didn't follow up through the sequels, that continued after that. It was a bit of a like, it was kind of like when Naruto jumped over to Ultimate Ninja Storm, and I got used to the Gekito Ninja Tyson games or whatever. But in this case, the main thing was I just remember Tenkaichi was like, okay, you see the character from the back, and then the first thing was you're gonna spend most of the fight with the enemy off camera. And like finding them was part of the deal, part of the mechanic, and then you lock on and you get that like, there he is, right? But there's a whole bunch of it where you're just really like the camera's not strategically placed. It's like you're fully blocking it in a way, and you're going to be looking left or right, and you're going to be like looking for them behind walls and behind things, and there's a whole lot of like, where is the target? It's way over there behind that wall or so, and then you have to kind of like break through and then get up to them.
Let me ask you a question. Were you playing this multiplayer?
Multiplayer was split screen, wasn't it? Right?
I don't even remember.
Because I want to say that when they did that, they did it split screen. But I just remember like trying. It's been so long that I think I tried that, and I think I just tried single player as well because I wanted to see like what the next Budokai game was gonna be. And the switch to third person camera and the making it more of that kind of third person gameplay, it just added a level of clunkiness to the camera and to the feel of the game that I really just didn't enjoy. And I guess I kind of was also just like, it's not really it's Budokai, but it's not Budokai. It's a new franchise. And I was like, okay, well, it wasn't for me. I wanted something that felt much more, I guess, smooth and immediate while being third person. Virtual On is a great example of how that feels. I even remember really enjoying I'm going to bring it up Bid for Power because that was a third person Quake engine based Dragon Ball game, and that kind of had fast-paced moving, flying, dashing in and stuff that didn't kind of have what I'm talking about here. There's a whole lot of like stopping and like looking and moving in blind directions in Tenkaichi that I remember.
You only played the first one, right?
Yeah, I played the first one.
Because the second and third like genuinely mitigated a lot of the issues you're having.
That's to reiterate, I didn't follow through with the rest of the series at that point. But I just remember that kind of being like a bummer and a bit of a buzzkill. And I was like, okay, well, that's not what I want out of a Dragon Ball game, and that was pretty much that. So it went on to then kind of become the thing where most people, when they think back to Dragon Ball games and talk about them nowadays, I only hear BT being referenced. I don't hear anyone talk about the original Budokai in the same way that when Naruto games get talked about, it's only Ultimate Ninja Storm. It's not the ones.
Yeah. So here's the way that I always saw it. So like I think these games fucking rule. Like when I said they felt great, like that was not sarcasm at all.
Okay.
Like it absolutely is like No, it's not a serious fighting game. It's a fucking Goku simulator.
Okay.
And it is a less serious game, and it is about like I want to fucking fly around and do the thing as the fucking Goku. When I think to Budokai 3 and Tenkaichi 3, I'm like, Budokai 3 is like a okay fighting game that has a bunch of Dragon Ball characters in it. And Budokai Tenkaichi 3 that's a fucking Goku simulator where I can pretend I'm playing fucking Goku and has the gigantic stupid ass roster that those games always had.
Mm-hmm. Is Kakarot a Goku simulator?
What's that?
Is Kakarot a Goku simulator?
No, it's the fucking Dragon Ball story thing. Who gives a shit?
Okay.
I want to fly around and fucking charge up and see all the fucking bars go up, and then I do the Goku, and then I hit the button, and then I fucking go to the side so I can dodge the bullshit, and then I'm the Goku.
Does Xenoverse replace Tenkaichi?
Fuck no, absolutely not.
Okay.
Xenoverse replaces Budokai.
Is it more of a third-person game than it is a side view perspective?
Well, I don't know what game you're referring to right now.
The Xenoverse, Dragon Ball.
Xenoverse is kind of splits the difference between the two, but like no, Xenoverse is not.
Xenoverse, yeah, Xenoverse is like it's kind of like Ultimate Ninja Storm in that it's like third-person, a little bit of both. It's not quite full split. Yeah. I remember thinking
Xenoverse is not good. Xenoverse just has more characters.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, so I remember when I kind of saw it, I guess I was like the thing that would have not like I initially was just like, okay, well I mean especially back then I was like, yo, I like fighting games. I want things to be like that more than I want them to be third person. These years on, I'm kind of looking at it going, well, I also remember too, like it wasn't quite like Zoe where like the camera is here, you're always going to see both characters and you're going to fight and fly towards each other in that way. And yeah, if the games after one didn't have that problem and they fixed a lot of those, then I didn't play those. I missed out on that. But I'm talking about
Tenkaichi 3 is the Resident Evil 4 of Dragon Ball games.
I also, the only other memory I have is because you remember one then having this shit I'm talking about, right? Like there was a bunch of clunk with that. And
it's their first try on a weird new system, and I think they were the first ones to do the like pseudo fighting game behind the back kind of camera.
And
you kind of gave it a free pass because it's like, well, this is interesting at least.
And the one other thing I remember is I want to say that I believe the Wii game was in the office for testing way back in the day. And like the whole motion controls for doing a Kamehameha, just nothing fucking worked. But it was one of those projects I was not on. But I remember, I seem to remember other people being on it, and it was just another case in point of like, oh god, the gyro, the Wiimote things won't work.
The fucking Wiimote.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're thinking of nice nuanced writing, dipshit.
Yeah, got it. Feel nothing but pity who think they're too smart for meathead shonen because they will die without realizing that unlocking a new form to beat the bad guy while hype music plays is in fact the apex of all media. Nice nuanced character writing, you fucking dipshit. Now check this out, and it's Goku going Super Saiyan 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason I bring that up is that nuanced character writing in this example is deep fighting game, whereas Budokai Tenkaichi is, I'm playing as Goku!
Now, if 3 doesn't have... The thing is, what I remember is that it had a bunch of... Imagine if you keep hitting the brakes on everything you're doing, though. If 3 and upwards had smooth movement and everything was fast and fun and dynamic and doing what Dragon Ball does, then absolutely. but like the experience I remember with at least that first one was just one of like, yeah, this was like you have to stop, you have to look, camera pan, move up, do a thing, and it was not I'm fucking Goku. There was a whole lot of awkward pausing and
yeah,
stilting.
because it was the first game that used that camera in any series ever. That was the first attempt at that kind of camera.
Yeah.
Also, the other thing that I don't think we've touched on, Tenkaichi 3 has 161 fucking characters.
That I've heard about. Yes,
like,
the roster's
it
just insane.
It goes hey, do you remember that fucking loser in the background of the one scene of World's Strongest? Here he is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is fun.
Yeah,
like that's great.
Yeah, I definitely want to. It's interesting to bring back specifically this franchise as opposed to announcing a new one, or because again, like obviously Fighters did its thing, and that's cool.
And Fighters is getting a fucking balance patch.
And if you're
that shit.
And if you're a fan of Fighters, then like yay. But like if you're just Bandai and you're like, well, on to the next Dragon Ball game, obviously. Then you're like, well, yeah, and then we had Xenoverse 2, and then we had Kakarot, and then we had yada yada. So the next one is bringing back this. I would love to see, just like if it like does become that thing of in my head of like an actual super dynamic third person thing, or if, for that matter, I suppose if 3 got to that point, but. Anyway, that's my
like so here's
story.
here's the thing. Here's the breakdown of your Dragon Ball games.
And it does historically represent a genre departure at that moment in the mid-aughts when I was also like, oh man, I want a fighting game. So there's that initial feeling from way back when.
So here's the breakdown, right? So you've got your Budokai games, which are people that are like, man, I wish Dragon Ball had a good fighting game. And Budokai has now been fully superseded by Dragon Ball Fighters. Right? That is a 1-to-1 direct replacement. Dragon Ball Fighters is a fucking excellent fighting game that will soon be getting rollback. Right? Tenkaichi is, dude, I want to play a Goku game. And I don't remember many people playing the Versus. That was about going through the campaign and getting to play, like, you're piloting Vegeta. You're piloting, like, Super Gohan.
Oh, were you guys not playing multiplayer at all?
I never knew anybody who gave a shit. Gave a shit about it. And remember, there was no online play, so it was limited to you and your buddies in the basement. Those are single player fighting games.
Interesting. Okay. That is not my what I thought.
It very much changes the context, right?
I didn't think that's what that was. I thought these were like multiplayers.
And then Xenoverse is for the people that are fucking morons and barely want to play a video game at all. They just want to see increasingly stupid new fucking custom characters from bullshit
Toriyama.
Like Cum Brawler or Dark Majin Brawler Cum or whatever the fuck.
Toriyama character creator has been a thing that like we needed for a long time, and this is the one that they actually finally made. But and I get that, because just like the fusing game or whatever, you're like, okay, but can I make a character that looks like they belong in the original Dragon Ball or like Dr. Slump, That's the main appeal straight up, is my Dragon Ball OC gets to exist in this game. That's what they're trying to fucking sell you.
Well, I really want to point out, as I send you this screenshot, I did not invent the word cum Broly.
Cumber and Broly fusion.
That's right.
Of course, Cucumber.
Alternatively known as Cum Brawler.
Yep. That's canon right there. Can't argue with it. Boy. Yeah. So no, that's exactly it. And I also knew over time as well. I've whenever Tenkaichi has come up, that like Like you're directly talking to the first Dragon Ball game that a bunch of people ever played.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's just locked in. There's no getting away from that. And you're like, yeah, fair enough. Same thing for the again, the Ultimate Ninja Storm games. That's the first Naruto game that a bunch of people ever played, and that's all that they have nostalgically. So, you know, fair enough, man. What can I say against that? You know, but my history of it with in that case, plus the other things I've mentioned, where you know there were third person games that like were faster and more high octane as listed beforehand, but they kind of, you know, like they didn't really copy any of those per se. And I think if like, so I guess my main question is in 2 and up, do you still, do you get permanently locked on and stay like targeting the opponent?
So I'm going to be very real with you, Wooly. I have not played this game in 15 years.
Okay.
I do not remember that being a problem in 2 and 3. It's not part of my memory.
Okay.
So I'm going to say because they mitigated or fixed that.
Are you still kind of having like the characters in the distance behind a bunch of buildings and you have to kind of like break through? Okay.
Yeah.
Because like smashing someone through a background thing is cool. But the idea of like them being lost and you have to go like find them is not as much, you know.
So it's like it's one of those things where I think about it and I can understand them letting that fly, because where'd he go is actually totally a part of Dragon Ball fights. Like where are they hiding? And it's like, oh, they were behind the building and they crashed through the building to get to you. Cool. Dude, when is Dragon Ball FighterZ gonna fucking get a goddamn? When's that patch? When's that happening?
I don't know.
Because like it's time to get back in. Also, I ordered a fucking Victrix, and then my fucking order got delayed by like a month because that thing is sold the fuck out. Darn.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, dude, somebody in the chat's Last Hazard just nailed it. Budokai Tenkaichi for Dragon Ball was the exact same thing as Duodecim or Dissidia for Final Fantasy.
Okay.
Like, no, it is not a serious ass fighting game. It is a main character simulator.
And here, but the part that like really this is news to me is that none of y'all played it against people, that you just played it against the computer.
Who gives a goddamn fuck?
Well, because it came like
I want my stats to go up and I want to beat Frieza with the Warrior of Light. Thank you.
So I would say that I thought as it was a Budokai game that it was going in that direction, but then it turns out not necessarily, right? Was Duodecim just do big Final Fantasies on the CPU style?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That campaign was enormous. Duodecim has like one of the best fighting game campaigns ever. It's incredible.
Okay. Yeah. I thought it was just like this is where the Budokai franchise is going, and the Budokai games were like, yeah, you play those with someone else usually. So, yeah. But okay. Anyways, yeah, that's that. Pretty wild. I wonder if they would like actually make it feel the exact same.
Oh yeah.
By the way, you said you got a Victrix.
No, I ordered a Victrix.
You ordered a Victrix. If for any reason that gets canceled and doesn't go through, I still recommend Kanba Pearl or Obsidian. Solid ass sticks.
What? No, but it's not a stick. It's a gamepad.
Oh, the BFG you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Usually when people say Victrix, they're like in
the one you brought on the podcast and showed off.
Just here, let me just give you a little context. So when people say Victrix, like fighting game related, it's often they mean the stick, right? When someone says like, oh yeah, I got a Victrix, they usually like are talking about the stick. The BFG controller.
I got a Hori Real Arcade fucking Pro right over there.
Right.
PS5.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but I wanted to try the Victrix, and like, Fucking bought it from a Canadian retailer, and then it's
That
so
totally
sold out.
one every time someone just said the word Victrix in the past, and that to me it's been in reference to the stick. I thought you were talking about that. Okay, yeah, the BFG controller, fantastic. Do it. Okay.
I'm probably gonna cancel my goddamn order and just fucking order it from the States. Like that would probably show up like over a month earlier.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I said this on stream last week, and I'll preface it again. A lot of coming on the internet into in a lot of the mid-aughts game culture was really weird, because there's a huge part of this where a lot of you guys would make references to G4 Tech TV and to X-Play and to the people
Never
on it.
personally watched it.
We didn't have it in Quebec.
Didn't watch it. Didn't see it. Didn't
Canada
know.
had it. It's a Canadian, it's a Rogers-based channel, but we didn't have it in Quebec. Therefore, every time anyone talked about memes or memories of X-Play and Attack of the Show and yada yada,
Yeah, I don't remember shit.
didn't get it, didn't watch it, no idea, no connection. People would make jokes about Adam Sessler and Morgan and this and Olivia and that, and I'd be like, yeah, I don't know, man, we literally didn't get that here. So starting out to preface once again to everybody that knows and gets this on a memory level, that this, we have no idea except for hearing about the video game based show from you guys over the years. So that last story from last week about how JRPG is a term that Japanese devs took umbrage with
as a form of disparagement.
Yes, it was a painful term many years ago, and people were like, really, what, when? And we talked about the Phil Fish story, for example. And yeah, that's kind of the one that comes to mind mainly, was just, him going off on a Japanese dev at a panel talking about how their games
so
suck.
Fucking offensive to everyone.
While the dev was saying, hey, your games seem to be inspired by the old Japanese games. What do you think of our current ones, or whatever. And then there was that era of also the reviews that were just kind of being weird. But
hey, I want to give a fucking shout out to fucking Gene Park for fucking digging up receipts and calling out specific morons like Arthur Gies, the former head of Polygon, for dumping all over fucking Vanquish because it was Japanese.
That exact era, right? This is what we're talking about, and this is why it makes sense that all these years later they still kind of feel that way. But then other people were...
Before we go on, I really want to point out the Phil Fish shitting on Japanese games always had two layers to me. One, it's rude as fuck. And two, Fez fucking sucks, dude! I fucking hate Fez so much!
I remember.
And for this dude to be like, well, your game sucks. You made one of the shittiest games I've ever played in my life!
I remember you're right back to yelling about the fake alphabet again,
every time, every fucking time.
Yeah,
the game's so fucking deep. I put a fucking 1-to-1 linguistic cipher instead of making cool puzzles.
The idea of a rotating pixel thing is visually interesting, but then
sure is. What a cool concept! Lots of fun.
What else?
Shame the game isn't about that.
What else are we doing with it? The concept, of course, that was all during. The thing is too is that that was during Indie Game the movie, right? And that was a part of the catalyst, was because if that event that the story came from was a panel for Indie Game the movie, and that was a Q&A that a Japanese dev asked after watching it, and again, you're looking at old Japanese platformers, you're looking at a game like Fez, and you're looking at the inspirations that are direct in that regard. So the line of questioning was not out of nowhere. Anyways, that era aside, people were like really that were not around for that are looking and asking a lot of questions about this whole JRPG story. And so the other thing that happened was people were like, oh yeah, remember when X-Play had these wild segments that just went insane
and I
unhinged?
said, no.
Yeah,
No,
because
I don't remember.
we did not watch the TV show of the channel we didn't have, and then some clips popped up, and wolf bark arf.
And it's like, how can anyone disagree that there was a weird open air xenophobic racist air about Japanese games when you're watching them literally out loud with their mouth? I fear for the time that this race will rule over us.
I believe they had samurais, they invented judo, and then we nuked them.
And that's when they became a real country.
There you go.
So when I saw that, my mouth fell open, because when me and Paige went to Japan, we went to the Hiroshima Holocaust Museum, in which I saw a goddamn child's shadow scorched into a wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't think that for your fun video game thing, making fun of a nuclear holocaust in order to, dump on untold legends is appropriate.
Again, as someone who, like, I don't know. I'm watching this, like, in whatever context it was in. There's things where you're like, okay, I've listened to many a comedian tell many fucked up jokes and shit that's like, whoa, pull the collar.
And we have also said ourselves a
absolutely
bunch of wildly fucked up jokes and things.
Make no mistake, certainly. But it definitely does feel, though, that there's something to just dropping all attempt at anything, like there's just dropping right down to World War II slap a Jap by war bonds level of caricature, popping up into the screen with big buck teeth, just going full on. Like there's nothing to this. There's no like dance. There's no eggshell.
Chaos review.
It's
just a bunch of talking heads screaming "sake" in a weirdly racist accent for like 90 seconds. That's not a review.
And then of course like the bit of like wacky Japan TV and stuff, which of course has been wacky forever. But like leaning super hard in with just that combined with the shit that she was saying, and then the cut-ins, and then like getting actual Japanese like speakers to come in and do the narration on some of those bits and shit, and you're just like, why is this coming across so vitriolic? Like it doesn't come across as like, haha, that funny little thing. We're doing a bit here.
No, it comes off.
It's like weirdly venomous.
So it comes off weirdly venomous, and so like I've been doing some digging and going around and reading everything people see. It sends me. So like there's the 2009 article with Greg Sachuk, right? Where he describes that Japanese games, particularly role-playing games, do not have any innovation in them, and basically talks down about their contemporaries around the time of Mass Effect 2's release. And then you go back and you describe that DirectX was Project Manhattan, and that the Xbox was originally known as Project Midway, i.e. the battle in which the Americans took over the pace of the war in the Pacific from the Japanese. And it's just this constant, like, angst that this hobby is being dominated by a foreign culture. Video games from 80 fucking 7, like after Atari, like shit the bed.
Oh yeah.
87 to 2005, when the Xbox 360 started to do really well and Japanese teams had trouble with HD development, that whole period was like totally dominated by Japanese games. And as soon as the Xbox 360 started to do really, really well, and North American and European games were starting to like really get their footing and have a lot of big success, all of a sudden it's like this weird video game version of like white replacement theory. Like in the X-Play clips, they're literally saying, I am afraid of when they rule over
when they
us.
will take over. So I think, like, for a quick little history lesson on that, the third and fourth generation of video games took place after the initial Atari and Commodore era collapse because they had no compliance whatsoever. Games were shit. Some of them didn't work. They charged a fuck ton, and they were like, you got Custer's fucking revenge as an example of the quality you'd get in some of your expensive ass purchases.
Is like the most insanely vile early video game. It's crazy.
So then when Nintendo came out, they basically had the seal of quality, which is the little sticker that goes in the corner, and that was the introduction of that thing I always talk about, compliance, which is a list of things that your game has to have in order for it to come out, including fucking working. So that brought a quality to the industry that didn't exist prior, that made it a hot commodity item that blew up, and then Japanese consoles took over because they became an actual representation of like, your game will work when you buy it actually, and it might even be fun. So the money, it might even be fun. So I feel like that, and we went through fourth generation.
Atari could never promise you.
Yeah. And then as we got into like exactly like the more Xbox era and things like that, I think the bit as well, with based on just like seeing the X-Play clips and stuff, it feels like sure there's that angle, but I think it's also like this was the era of English and like the weird Arnold Schwarzenegger commercials coming to light, and the lost in translation stuff getting found out about, and like Japanese TV clips making their way onto QuickTime on the internet.
Yeah.
And it was premium. Like if you were paying attention to anime and video games, you were starting to find out about these really weird random things that would pop up on TV and stuff and clips. And so that was part of it, of just like leaning into the bizarre nature of that crazy shit and like trying to recreate it with their own sense of humor. And I guess you just, you go back to it now and you look at the bit and, I mean, there's SNL clips of fucking Jimmy Fallon in blackface. I mean, there's
that Mad TV character that was like an Asian lady that was just like the white guy doing Miss Kwan. Asian lady.
Yeah, no. Well, but it wasn't the white guy, but like
I don't remember that character. But I remember that Mad TV had a thing.
Yeah. Make no mistake, right? You go back in time on anything comedic, and you're hitting that like, oh yeah, okay, this is not what this doesn't. You can't fucking pull that out into in current year, so to speak. But
we're no different. I mean, I would like to disavow everything I've ever said before 10 minutes ago.
Sure.
Especially stuff that none of you heard that I said to children on Xbox Live when they talk shit in Halo, and I made them cry because I convinced them that I was gonna fuck their mom.
Oh yeah.
That little shit called me the N-word because I took the fucking warthog. Okay, time for the 30-minute shit talk at a 12-year-old. Fuck that kid. Should have quit right away.
Some of you participated in the world record any % N-word speedrun. Don't pretend you didn't. I heard you.
You know what the wildest one is? You know what's a really good example of this? Because it's not a good example of this. Watching people who are like 15 right now discover fucking Tropic Thunder and going, what the fuck is Iron Man doing?
Yeah. Which was released the same year as Iron Man 1, mind you.
Yeah, and it's like Tropic Thunder is the funniest blackface joke ever. It is incredible.
It's wild because like this thing, people discovering it is kind of hilarious because it immediately follows discovering it, going, what the fuck am I looking at? What is Iron Man doing? Followed by the discovery that black people love Tropic Thunder. And that you're looking at the ridiculousness of a stupid fucking white actor going as far as he thinks he should go to play this character being the subject of the joke, you know? The point is how fucking insane Hollywood is, right? Like, you kind of find out about that shit like all in one, and you just go but anyways, all this to say that I remember the shows that we did get in you know, Quebec included Reviews on the Run, and I remember
with everyone's favorite Tommy
Tallarico,
a guy who would review games he fucking worked on and gave them good scores.
And I remember the fucking bullshit that is the shitting on CVS2 because look at these dumb old pixel sprites. We need to get out of this era. Capcom's fucking in the past, and the fact that they haven't gotten with the times with 3D is just embarrassing. Yada yada. And that is a stupid ass shitty review of a good game, but at no point did he pull out the rice hat and fake teeth and start going for the chopstick bit while talking about CVS2.
And hey, you know what? Let's all be fair. 2005 was almost 20 years ago now. We were much younger.
It was
Most
a very
of us
long
were much
time ago.
stupider. The Pat of 2005 was a substantially larger and louder asshole than the Pat of 2023. And I would tell that Pat to go fuck himself. And if, like, for example, there was a video of me calling a bunch of people names at a fighting game tournament in which I sound like a fucking asshole, I look back on that with embarrassment and go, man, I was a dickhead. But if you were to say, I don't know, on broadcast television, and you made a horribly racist anti-Japanese Baten Kaios review, and somebody went, wow, that was fucked up, maybe your response isn't supposed to be, oh, sorry, you're mad that I didn't give your boner simulator a good review, you alt-right fucking anime pedophile idiots?
So the tweet I then saw was the double down where Adam was like, nah, you know, on that. And it's like, yeah, okay, I guess, man, but it's like,
I think the ultimate double down is, hey man, that was pretty racist, and the response of, I'm not racist, you're a pedophile, might not work for you. It's
yeah. I don't know. It's just this is one of those things where you're just like, again, I laugh at fucked up jokes and humor all the time and make fucked up jokes and humor all the time.
Let's be real. I saw this X-Play shit. I got
it's
red
crazy.
and I laughed.
I just woofed and hoofed. I just thought, but either ultimately, it's just like, yeah, there's just sometimes there's that little sting to it where you're like, there's not. It's straight to World War II with the bit. That's just kind of wild, you know, like you can go into the wild shit about how Japan does stuff. There's a lot. Anyway, whatever. 2006, or we're talking to 20 years ago, so that's crazy. It's crazy. But all this to say, it was a pretty wild walk down memory lane for a lot of people. But this is to bring up again why JRPG might have some bad feelings associated with it.
It's really
Yoshi P.
The Greg Sachuk BioWare quote made me laugh really hard. That I think is actually my favorite part of all of this, because it's not overt, but it's like, okay, they're making Mass Effect 2 and Dragon Age 2, right? And the head of BioWare says that JRPGs are suffering from a lack of innovation and they're just not doing it. BioWare made the same game like 8 times in a row between the year 2000 and 2020. The characters that people love in Mass Effect are all JRPG stereotypes. Garrus and Tali, the two most popular characters BioWare ever made, are fucking anime characters. It's fucking silly.
Yeah,
It's fucking silly.
I remember that quote popping up as well. Like ridiculously dismissive for what your company's about.
Also, BioWare made Sonic and the Dark Brotherhood. Shut up.
So let me close this segment on another statement I remember. Back in the day, the great Patrice O'Neill once said that good jokes and bad jokes and things that offend and things that don't, a lot of the time they come from the same place, which is an attempt to make someone laugh. And like they're gonna land and they're not, but like that's where they're trying to come from. That's the same effort getting put out there. And you get that, and we all understand that. But yet somehow at the same time, while Patrice said that, over here is Kramer.
Yeah.
And Kramer's on stage. And Kramer's having a really bad set, guys.
He was not.
His set is not going good. It's not going according to plan. And there's a different energy about where that set went that isn't quite what Patrice was talking about.
Yeah, all this stuff has this weird layer of like vindictiveness and annoyance and just right. I think I talked about this the other night on stream, but I think the funniest thing about it is that the Japanese games are bad. When are we going to move on past these Japanese games? We saw the Elden Ring tweets about that game's interface. You remember that? People like getting angry that game has an equipment screen.
Oh yeah,
because that's bad design compared to like Horizon and all this shit. And I can't remember who I saw like make this point. I brought up who I thought made it, but then they don't remember saying it. But regardless, it's a good point. Somebody on my timeline made it. Well, let's say you wanted to play a hit RPG from 1998, right? If you were to play a Japanese role-playing game from 1998, how much prep do you need to do?
How much prep do you need to do?
Yeah, say I give you a PlayStation 1 and a disc to play a hit RPG from 1998. How much work do you need to do before setting it up? How much research? How much backstory? How much systems?
I would just pop it in and press.
You would
new
pop
game
it in and play it. So like FF7, FF8.
Yeah,
FF9,
I'd let the tutorials carry me and let the story.
Yeah, you read
itself.
the manual.
Right? I'll let it explain itself.
Well, what if you wanted to play Baldur's Gate 1 right now?
I would schedule a phone call with you, and I would ask you for a couple hours of your time, and we'd pull up a chart. And,
like when you go back to games from the late 90s and the early aughts, and they're from like North America, a lot of those games are like wildly fucked up now. Like I just went through Witcher 1. Witcher 1 is so wildly fucked up. And early BioWare, like the first BioWare game that was like playable by a human being is like KOTOR 1. Right? Like
you
play a Japanese role-playing game, you fucking load it in, I'm go, okay, cool, I know how the buttons work. It plays like a regular fucking video game. Lack of evolution. Shut up, Greg. Go review your peers.
So two different groups of people interpreted D&D paper tabletop gaming into in different ways, and the more literal that gets in a lot of cases, you're in WRPG cases, you're gonna have no idea what the fuck is going on with a bunch of those numbers. Anyways, it's not to say that like
have you seen a screenshot of what System Shock 1's like UI looks like?
No.
In the back, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and again, these things all have their place. Like for anyone who loves diving in the numbers, I get these are the things that are going to appeal. But you can't just. It was a weird era to go back and just throw stones in glass houses and just shit unceremoniously all over like everything coming out of Japan at the time, and it was again weirdly vindictive and venomous. Like a little bit of that. move over, old man. How many times do I have to tell you?
Yeah.
And and then there was an actual like point in which like Call of Duty popped off and first person shooters took over, and then that actually became like, oh, the West is dominating video games now,
Yeah.
So anyways, if anyone was looking for receipts as to why Yoshi P was talking about this, and
receipts provided ad nauseum.
yeah, like people are like, oh, why are the Japanese devs in their fifis? And it's like, well, here you go. There was a fucked up
there was a lot
list,
of fifi hurting going on.
And you know what?
Also, like,
and
let's
you know what?
remove all of this. It's weird that they're the only country and the only genre that gets the nation put in front of it as a descriptor. That is kind of weird.
As opposed to the general region.
Yeah. Like, there's no, there's the only one I can think of, and it kind of is the same, is Eurojank.
Well, but it makes sense just given the fact that Nintendo, Sega, Sony were all coming out of the same place. So it just makes sense because those were the biggest things to buy products from, and they're all from the same place. So I was going to say that if you want to throw a little bookend on that, the end of that Phil Fish rant from way back in the day, I don't know if you remember.
I don't.
After he went off on the dev who was in the audience and talked about how shitty Japanese games were, if I'm not mistaken, the Japanese dev went, "Thanks for answering the question. Thank you for your time," and just sat back down.
Yeah.
And then it was just the description was awkward cheers and boos and stomach whinging noises from the crowd, but the dude just took it and went, "Yep, thanks for answering," and just that was it. Anyway,
Phil Fish is the exact kind of fucking stupid, asshole, arrogant piece of shit that I moved to get away from.
the fire that rises every time is unbelievable. Like,
so there's two reasons.
There's a kicked your dog level of energy.
So there's two reasons. One, Fez is a piece of shit, and it's an arrogant piece of shit, and it was made by an arrogant piece of shit who happened to be from the city that I was born in and lived there at the time, and sounds like my relatives. It's very personal.
There it is.
Like, I am embarrassed by Phil Fish by association.
Okay.
Legitimately.
The accent. A little
he
bit.
Is oh.
Yeah, okay. There you go. Yeah. I was like, let's just...
Like, he may be two cousins over from me. I don't know.
Sure, but it's important to note. I'm like, what? Let's scratch a little bit of the ticket right there. Okay, there we go.
Also, and also the final part that I scream and rant and shit myself over the Fez letter puzzle, right? The Fez that you play for the first 30% of that game, I was really excited for. I'm madly in love with non-traditional space, non-Euclidean geometry, perspective shifting kind of stuff. So I was really excited for Fez. And to be told that, by the game, hey, you remember that thing you were excited for? Haha, that was the trick to get you to play the shittiest word puzzle ever. Infuriating. Here's your delicious hamburger. Guess what? There's poop in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, just talking about this now and then thinking about the description of Tunic, where you're discovering the manual the other day.
Tunic fucking kicks ass.
Where it sounds like a functional version of a similar idea.
Yeah, Tunic's really good. You should play Tunic. Tunic's incredible.
Okay, well, that aside, Americans, please continue to inform on your G4 Tech TV memories and shit, because anyways, what else is going on? Well, hey, turns out Funko Pops are having a rough time. They too are having a rough go.
Not content to merely be filled with piss. You don't know that story, don't worry about it.
30 million what?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I can relate to the Funko Pop piss story to you at a different time.
Okay. $30 million worth of Funko Pops are being dumped directly into a landfill because they're not selling.
Isn't capitalism grand?
I mean, like, yes, but this flavor in particular, right, of just the whole business model, the whole, like, and I still imagine somewhere deep down those people are still going to come rising up in a minute, a whole level of flame. I caught some flames over being like, fuck these stupid things. If you want a cute collectible, there's Nendoroids. And it's like, yes, but the Nendoroids are more expensive. Yes, but you own 10 of these stupid Funko Pops, which means you could have spent that money anyways, right? Like, it's like, yes, but there's 10 of them. And yes, and they're all shit. And quantity over quality? Yes, actually, that's what I want. Okay, cool. So,
would you believe that with grocery prices rising pretty much everywhere, that the first thing to get cut out is the most worthless tacky item in your house?
It just became, it's so insane because a bunch of people stood on their box of Funkos and went, yes, I want quantity over quality, and I don't care about your stupid expensive Nendoroids or whatever you're talking about, and shut up, fuck you. I want my whatever, my Firefly collectible. And it's like, okay, man, sure, you know. So here you get literally the end result of when someone puts the Tony Stark next to the Doctor Strange next to the Clerks fucking Funko, and like it's the same head.
Don't worry about it.
You
Don't
know,
worry about it, man.
Anyways, so that bubble is bursting, it seems, and like the whole bit was like, yeah, we make them inexpensive and we make them like cheap and shit, but it's more about just being a fan of the thing, and you just want to have a thing from the thing you like, as opposed to it being a decent piece of merch.
Well, there's also another reason. One of the large drivers of Funko Pops, much like one of the large drivers of, I don't know, some other piece of shit ugly thing that no one actually cared about, like Beanie Babies, is a speculative market, because there are rare Funko Pops, and speculative markets for bullshit that no one cares about dry up when everyone's broke.
So the pile of unsold inventory increased by 48% year over year. Mm-hmm. And they were last year apparently they hit a critical point of being too overflowing with inventory to actually to continue storing it in their storage shipping containers and in their regular storage points. So they had to rent shipping containers as temporary storage for a bunch of them, and that doesn't go down over time. So yeah, the speculative aspect of this, there's 2 golden figurines sold for $100K, yada yada.
You
PVC
see that,
poisoning, like.
You see the people that work in landfills are discovering you remember Magic had those like $1,000 super packs or whatever?
Sure.
Apparently most of those have been landfilled quietly.
Wow.
Because people that work at landfills are like finding them just in big piles.
Yeah. So PVC is what they're made of, and that is not easy to dump and deal with either, considering the fact that it's made using vinyl chloride, which was
Fuck out. Are you fucking
all
serious?
over the news recently. You might have heard of vinyl chloride because that's what's going on in East Palestine, Ohio. The VC in PVC is that. So now we're about to dump 30 million in Funko Pop form into the landfill. Because that's what the fuck Funko Pops are. Yeah. Woo. Love that. That's great.
I'm sorry, Johnny, you can't have kids because the Funko Pops have leaked into the water supply and rendered you sterile.
Why can't we drink the water, Mommy? Is it because
people needed the shittiest figure of Iron Man they could get?
The Funkos are in the river and now it's shimmering when we drop things into it? I meyou want to talk about, like, I've had my vendetta against these fucking things forever. You want to talk about celebration? I get to fucking cheer this victory lap as it destroys the drinking water in the surrounding area, and just like it's crazy that, like, at the end of the day, not only are they shit wastes of money that are just garbage from a merch perspective, they're also helping destroy the earth. That's fucking wonderful. That's great. Love that for you, Funko. Super sick. But you know what? The Cuphead one was pretty good. Yeah, you did it. God. Man. Anyways, folks, if cute little Nendoroids, right? I don't collect them, but if I were to, that's you know, you can pose them. They're often made with detail and love, and you can put a little stand behind them, and
right up until you find out that every single one of them is manufactured from cum.
Okay, well,
it's the next logical step.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Yes, of course everything's made of PVC, guys. We know. Just like duh.
I really thought you were going to say everything's made out of cum.
Well, everyone is made out of cum.
It's true. Don't think too hard about that. It's gross.
And if you search long and hard, you can find places where the two intersect and create content.
Yeah, you can.
Tags unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
Ask Reggie about them.
Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Hot glue is the powerhouse.
All right, that's enough. That's enough out of you. What's the next news story and/or podcast email?
Well, talking about the Japanese video game industry.
Yeah.
I often remember and describe when Yoichi Wada left the president's position at Square Enix, and Yosuke Matsuda took over. And they just announced that Matsuda will now be stepping down, and Takashi Kiryu will be stepping up, pending the role approval at the next shareholder meeting.
Sold Eidos for nothing.
What does this ultimately mean? It's hard to say, in the sense that if you're looking at this and going, oh, like a massive change in direction is coming, maybe hold on a second. Because, for example, I saw a lot of people were talking about how Matsuda was the one that was pushing hard with the NFTs and doubling down on that whole thing. And Kiryu, who's stepping in, has also indicated that he's super into that and wants to push that direction. He's a big Dragon Quest fan, and he's adamant on the NFT endeavors at Square Enix, like, you know, coming to fruition. So Don't assume
You
just
know what
yet.
the weirdest thing about this is? They keep saying that over and over and over, but nothing's happening.
Yeah, it is interesting because it's keeping the shareholders happy to hear that. Certainly, Konami is definitely off, busy, fully throwing themselves over the cliff, and Ubi we saw, was certainly down to like cut a leg off and throw that over as well. But it might be interesting if it's like, yes, shareholders, absolutely, don't you worry. In the meantime, here's FF16 and 14 and R2 and yada yada.
Because, like, the only other times you ever hear NFTs associated with Square Enix is, like, you see an interview with Yoshi P on 16 or 14, or you see an interview with, like, Nomura or Katase on, like, FF7 Remake, and the phrase NFT is either completely absent,
No,
or they just go, yeah, we're not gonna do that.
no. Realistically, I think you're gonna hear about it. You're gonna hear about it soon. Like I remember when we stared down the barrel of Nosgoth and fucking Sleeping Dogs Chinatown Wars
Yeah, and those turn out great, right?
and gas games and such, and the introduction of that whole thing. With when the company changed. But in this case, I imagine, look, what you're hearing about 14 and 16, which are being head up by somebody who's fighting back the hounds of hell, as I've been told. Every time they try to encroach, he single-handedly, right?
Did you see in the FF16 interviews? By the way, did you see the FF16 stuff? It looks great.
Yeah, we talked about it last time.
But did you see the interview in which Yoshi P talks about collaboration with Final Fantasy 14?
From long ago?
No, from a couple weeks ago.
Perhaps not.
He described.
Oh yes, I did see that. We would have to ask the producer of FF14, who also happens to be named Yoshida. So
I'll schedule a meeting with him,
yes,
and then we'll hash it out.
Yeah, dead serious, no smirk whatsoever, as noted. Yeah, that was great. Give him a call. Yeah, so he's doing that, right? And then 7R feels as well like something that is big on a scale that would probably be smart to not fuck it up. So now's not the time. And then
expected this to like be jammed into like first soldier.
Yeah, or something. Right. Well, and Theatrhythm just dropped and did its thing, and then the Pixel remasters, nothing there except for the really obnoxious price point on the collection. But it feels as if I guess there's a bunch of big name FF related projects that they're trying to push to the forefront and not embarrass themselves with right now. But anything that's probably not FF related, they might be willing to throw to the wolves.
Yeah, I could see a Dragon Quest mobile adventure that has NFT slimes or some bullshit on it.
Because we've only been talking about FF related products and stuff for the last little bit. Perhaps with the exception of that Nier thing that came out. But yeah, we'll see. But don't get too excited. It might just be more of the same. We'll see. Then real quick, a couple trailers dropped. We got to see a new Ninja Turtles trailer, Mutant Mayhem. Looks fucking great.
Looks fucking cool.
Looks great. Sounds fun. Just a nice little fun setting, and the turtles are young, and the Ninja Turtles is clearly back in. Well, it never really went away fully, but it would take sometimes you'd be not hearing about it for 4 years or so, and before it would come back around.
Ninja Turtles are back again.
They're fully back in we're pushing them, and every time they go away, they're going to be gone for 2 years tops before you see another version of them. So that's a whole thing. But if they keep reinventing them in ways, but they're fun watches, then that's fine. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that was full of some awesome fucking super hype over the top shit, amazing animation quality and fun going on there. This is a completely different tone with them seemingly younger, right? This looks like them as kids, kind of learning how to do ninja stuff. Um, and it credited Seth Rogen, but I don't know if he's just producing or directing
He's
or
probably
what.
producing.
But in any case,
in between bong rips so he doesn't shit himself.
Jackie Chan is Splinter. That's pretty good.
I think that's a joke, but recently Seth Rogen said that if he doesn't smoke enough weed, he shits himself.
I believe it. Yeah. So, way to just be like, it's another reboot, but hey, the you know, the banter is fun, and it looks like it's gonna be a cool like Spider-Verse energy to it. So, yay. Let's see more of that. A trailer also dropped for This Is a Fucking Wild One, and for those of you who know, you know, Marc Ecko's Getting Up, Contents Under Pressure.
Get out.
The feature film adaptation.
You are a liar.
I swear to God. This thing dropped, and it seems like they filmed just a trailer, so it might not necessarily be like the full thing is in production just yet, but they released a live action Getting Up trailer. And it's like, okay, dude, yeah, man. And he kind of said, he came out and said like, oh, hey, yeah, for anybody that wanted a remake of the game or like, you know, a revisit, well, like, you know, we still want to do stuff like that, but first we're going to try to work on this. And I guess it's like to drum up interest in that possibility. I don't know that there were people out there clamoring for the continued adventures of Train in New Cypher City or whatever the fuck it's called, but sure, man.
Literally don't believe you.
Shout outs to anybody out there in the fucking Bronx still rocking their Ecko Unlimited, like still rocking the Rhino wear. Kind of amazing. Yeah. And flipping through your Complex magazine, you know?
I don't.
Okay. Are you familiar at all with black magazines?
No.
Okay. So there's black magazines like Essence and Ebony, and these are the things you might see on your auntie's kitchen counter.
I'm going to tell you right now what my personal knowledge of Essence and or Ebony is. The only experience I have ever had with these black magazines is when Plinkett describes casting the two coolest black dudes in Star Wars ever. He puts a photo of Ebony magazine on the screen for 2 seconds.
Yeah,
that has Sam Jackson and Billy D. Williams on it.
Okay, well, it's pretty interesting that you remember that. That's a good pull, because yeah, Essence, Ebony, and Jet are these well known. There's like these black magazines, and then you kind of have, moving on the other side of that, you've got hip hop magazines like Source, XXL, and Complex, and these would be big, you know, big deals if you got on the cover, if you got on the freshman cover and all that, if you were one of the up and coming, you know, new talents and shit. And Vibe was another one as well. And for people that just, yeah, it was just like whatever. There's magazines, you know. And Complex is Marc Ecko, right? That's his mag, and the obviously the clothing brand as well. And that all culminated in the ability to get his powers together and make a video game featuring his brand and his magazine.
Banned in Australia.
The trailer does feature subway surfing, so I'll tell you that much. Like it's accurate.
Cool.
It's accurate. But yeah, we're gonna get possibly a live action fucking Getting Up. I'm down, man. Fuck it. You know, that's a.
Don't you kill people in that game that just try and stop you from graffitiing?
Oh,
and
make
stuff?
no mistake. That was Def Jam before Def Jam, you know? Or after? I forget. After? During? I don't know. I want to say Xbox One era, so probably during. But yeah, you do so, but it's no big deal because you're taking out a corrupt evil mayor and they're evil like fucking ninjas and shit, and you're doing it in the name of the streets, so don't worry about it. As long as you do it in the name of the streets. to the backdrop of Talib Kweli.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, Marc Ecko's getting up. Content's under pressure, coming soon. Oh God.
I think Content's under pressure for a
Awesome.
tagging game is an incredible subtitle.
Yeah. It's I remember finding out the not dawning on me about the bit with the that's what you have on a spray can, you know.
Mhm.
Super cool. All right. Last bit, and it's not really a bit. It's just a hearty fuck you. Mega Man Cross Dive.
Yeah, I saw that.
Has decided to fuck it because it hates you. Here is X DANTE as an outfit, as well as VERGIL 0, and that game's had a bunch of that game's had a bunch of wild DLC things, and I've seen footage of it, and like it's on Steam as well, so technically you don't have to play it on mobile. But just like it's the only living form of Mega Man currently is just this gacha thing.
Fucking retweet to scare a fucking Marvel player.
Yeah, VERGIL 0. yeah. VERGIL make 0 may cry in one unit. That's the scariest shit ever. No, terrible. It sucks that ideas that cool are relegated to the gacha realm. And the only thing I hate more is how much I would love seeing Axel Nero. Right? The third that comes along. Think about it.
I don't like Axel, but I do like Nero.
Like, X should have probably been VERGIL, since Red is 0 and 0 is a little bit more wild and X is a little bit more restrained. You know,
sword, man. Come on, sword.
But then there's the sword and the buster. No, I know. You can there's personality, color scheme. You can go either way. But Axel is definitely the third coming in. So, anyways, whatever to that. Fuck you, Cross Dive. Why are you being cool? Shut up. Be less cool so I can continue to ignore you, please.
Stop being cool. Only cool things in the stuff that I want to play.
Make yourself easy to ignore. If you got an email, you can send it in to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
Speaking of easy to ignore.
Mm-hmm. In fact, I'm looking at one, and I've just ignored it.
Oh, that's great.
Damn. Sorry to you.
Hey, I just wanted to give a shout out. There was a thread recently on like, why do they read such bad emails? I'm like, you have no idea the emails that this man skips.
You really don't. You'd think years later that the situation will have changed, but it doesn't.
Fucking write better emails.
Hail, Lords of Castle Super Beast. In regard to the most recent discussion about people who supposedly don't have an internal monologue, the study that spawned this whole NPC meme, the phenomena of the inner experience, is completely misunderstood. Each participant's inner experience, inner voice, disconnected ideas, and imagination was randomly sampled. That is, they were simply requested to write down everything inside their head the moment a buzzer rang. Nobody has an inner voice running 24/7. Sometimes you need that brain power for something else. Although frequencies did vary, each participant did have an inner monologue. But what about the people who admit to it? This is purely speculation of my own, but I believe it's the communication issue, not a mental one. When people claim that they can't see an imagined apple with their eyes closed, they're right because nobody can. Sight, in a sense, relies on observable reality, light. You don't see, quote-unquote, imagined things, just like you don't see, quote-unquote, dreams. I believe the same thing is happening with inner voices. Some people just don't consider their subvocalization or errant thoughts as a voice. With citation notes for the study, if you would like to look at them, given. So it seems, according to this citation, which let's just pull that up. They're saying that study results might have been exaggerated or inaccurate.
I get what they're saying. I understand what they're saying. If it was write down what's in your head right now when the buzzer goes off at random,
That doesn't
and
seem the
somebody,
same as like some people have no voice in their head ever, and
yeah,
some people do.
and somebody, or when you ask them, do you hear a voice, and they're like, well, I don't hear it, but my thoughts are, it's not quite the same as hearing, right? I can understand it being a vocalization issue.
Yeah.
So I will be remiss if I do not bring up the conversation that happened on my stream on Friday. So I'm going to ask you a question that's of some similarity to this study, Wooly. So let's say you're talking to Punch Mom, right? And you have a conversation about spaghetti, right? This is pretty average, normal conversation. And then you think back to that conversation a couple hours later, right? When you replay the conversation in your head, what do your voices sound like?
My voice or
Her voice.
it sounds like her.
So I discovered this past Saturday, actually, that that's how most people hear their internal monologue. But when I think back to any memory and I want to replay what was played, it's me pretending to be that person.
Okay, hold on. Are you putting on an imitation of them?
Yes. So when you read a book, okay, let's say you're reading a book, right?
Yeah.
And you're reading the characters in the book, and the character's voice is described, right?
Yes.
And the character talks, and you're using your mind voice to create a sentence, right?
Yeah.
That's just me acting like the voice that was just described.
Okay, but if you're reading a book, that makes sense because you're reading text that has no. You have to convert it into your own brain, but you can always imagine someone else being that role. But if it's a memory of a thing that happened, just play back the sound of that thing happening.
Kind of.
Okay, stop. No. Hold on. If you play back Thriller right now, Michael Jackson's Thriller in your head, think about it, right?
Yeah.
The chorus. Are you hearing you singing as Michael Jackson?
So this is the distinction that I kept trying to make that I can't seem to reach with anybody. If I want to remember it, like the words and the song, I can think of it and I remember what Michael Jackson sounds like when he's singing Thriller. But if I want to hear it in my mind, it has to be me because only I can make noise in my mind.
No. If you're playing the chorus of Thriller in your head right now, you're hearing.
Am I remembering it or am I hearing it?
Your memory, because it's not playing right now, so you have to think back.
Yeah,
and
I can remember it as Michael Jackson singing Thriller. But if I want to hear it in my mind
with the music
as more than words on a page, it has to be me.
So whenever you hear music in your brain that you like and you're replaying it, not because of the lyrics, but because
it's me going da 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 da, and the words are always screwed up because I can never remember the words. Like Wooly, if I were to remember this conversation later, you would be you and I would be me. But if I wanted to play it back in my head and hear it, I would be playing both parts. I would just have a version of my voice that is me pretending to sound like you.
But what do you hear when you hear the music the first time?
The first time when I hear it?
Like
with my ears or
oh god. Okay. So you're thinking of a predominantly vocal theme in a language you don't know, all right? So you don't have to remember the lyrics because they don't matter. You're thinking of Emil's theme, okay?
Sure.
Vocal is predominant. high-pitched voice, young.
Yeah.
You're playing the song in your head.
Am I remembering
Listen to
it,
the music.
or am I
The
playing
music.
it?
The music. Click play in your head on the music. Click the play button.
Yeah.
The voice singing right now is your voice?
Yes, of course.
Is this a bit?
We spent like an hour on it.
This Saturday. Is not a bit.
No. And in fact, this is my first like Saturday was the first interaction in which I'm like, oh, other people are not all like this. I was under the assumption that every time somebody replayed a memory or song or voice in their own head and heard it, they were talking in their own head. Because when you're making head noise in your mind, you're the only performer in there. There's nobody else.
Is this why you hate music?
No. No, I say that I hate music because I'm sick of people shitting on me for my music taste, and every one of those conversations is the worst. Is the worst conversation ever. Like, but I will say that I have an incredibly difficult time remembering any song unless it's playing.
Yeah, because
like when you said Emil's theme, I can't remember what Emil's theme sounds like right now.
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
No, I would need to hear it.
Okay. Because the reason why I went to music is because, like, unlike a conversation, music is embedded with the vocals as an instrument. Like, so when you think of like a guitar riff, right? Mm-hmm. You think of you hear the guitar.
No, I hear myself going.
Okay. Well, now, no. Now we're just like, okay, I'm talking about like the instruments. I'm not talking about the actual.
But I'm not a guitar, so how can I make a guitar noise in my mind?
If you play instrumental music,
in
your head with no lyrics,
where I can hear it,
the instrument.
No, it's me making mouth noises imitating the instrument.
All right, we're done here. We're just lying. We're just lying live on stream. Okay, hold on. Drums, just the hit of drums. If there's no actual. It's just percussions. Thump, thump, thump.
Mm-hmm.
You're not hearing the sound of the drum play back in your head? Sounds don't exist in your head? Like what you're describing.
For drums, that's different because I can do this and I know what that sounds like.
When you think about Geef barking, are you not hearing Geef's bark?
No, I'm hearing myself imitate the dog's bark.
Okay, what you're describing is that you don't hear sounds in your head. That you only hear your own voice.
No, I can remember what things sound like. I recognize your voice, right? And I can think about the qualities of, say, your voice and what your voice sounds like. But if I'm not listening to your voice right now, the only thing I could create in my head is me pretending to be you, which is going to be really inaccurate.
So you're unable to mimic any sound you've heard in your head if it's not actively playing.
Well, no, I can mimic it, but I'm mimicking it with my fucking voice. Because you can only talk in your own head with your own voice.
This sounds, dude. And, like, are you hitting notes in the right pitch in your brain?
Oh, I suck. I suck ass. That's why I find it almost impossible to start singing or humming a tune from nothing. If I can hear it, then the memory unlocks and I remember where everything is. But like,
so when you memorize a song and it's actually fully committed to memory and you start singing it out loud, right?
Yeah. Let's take Aladdin, for example, because my brother and I used to watch Aladdin all day, every day.
Sure. I was going
right?
to say, yeah, that or the 101 song or whatever. Anyways, sure. But you know the song by heart and you start singing it out loud.
Right.
Okay. At that point, when you're creating it in reality, what's running through your brain? Just the lyrics?
What do you mean what's running through my brain?
Like...
I'm saying the words out loud.
Okay. Because... most people, if not all people, can play sounds, music back. I can play back right now the Metal Gear Solid theme in my head, and I'm hearing the instruments directly in my head as if I were listening to it, playing it. My voice has nothing to do with it. Same thing if I were talking to somebody or playing back a conversation with Punch Mom. I'm hearing her voice because reality, as the memory was, and its details are being replayed to the best of my ability, and voice, the words being said, and the things I'm seeing are all captured in that memory. You're describing your memories as if they're missing a track, which is the tonality of the sounds you're hearing.
No. They're not missing it. But if I want to hear it instead of remembering it, I have to reenact it with the only thing I have, which is the sound of my own voice.
Okay.
So I remember what the Metal Gear Solid theme sounds like. But if I wanted to think about and hum it in my mind, it would sound like do 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 with my own voice, like I just did just now.
Okay. So this is a 2-step process for you that is a 1-step process for everyone else because they're one and the same.
It appears.
That's crazy. That's fucking insane.
It sucks. I'm getting really sick of doing my internet show and then people being like, "Oh my god, I feel so sorry for you. Your brain is broken." I'm like, "Oh, cool. Now I am sad."
I didn't know this was a possible thing. I don't even know what to call it. Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's
anyway. So if I want to listen to a music, I have to listen to the music.
See, the thing is, last time we talked about the craziness of not having an internal monologue, you were equally horrified at the type of person that had none because of how crazy that sounded.
Yeah, who the fuck doesn't have an internal monologue?
Well, here we are.
What are you talking about? I'm describing having nothing but an internal monologue.
But I'm saying this is a similar level of I don't understand how that's a 2-step process. Like, it's so natural to just play back the conversation from earlier and hear your voice or her voice or whoever's voice because that's not me. That's the way they talk and that sound. I can play it.
You're you. How can you say anything without your own voice?
Because it's not actually happening in reality. It's happening in my memories. I can do anything in my memories. When you dream, do you dream? Huh?
I dream maybe once every 2 years.
Are you sure you just don't remember them? Because a lot of people, everyone dreams and doesn't remember a lot of them.
I'm sure I don't remember them. But the dreams that I have remembered are nonsense. Like complete nonsense.
Can you recall hearing voices in a dream?
No.
Because when I dream, I
can remember the events, but I can't remember any of the. I remember I was being traced by Dracula.
No, you
whatever.
Okay, yeah, you definitely dream because everyone does. You don't remember them.
Yeah, no, that I agree with
that. Right. Yeah.
But like when you talk about like a dream, like okay, there's a dream I very specifically remember from when I was a kid. There was a Frankenstein, and the Frankenstein was chasing me around in a graveyard, and PJ Jen from YTV was playing the guitar on a gravestone, and I was like, "Help me, PJ Jen," and she didn't give a shit. But I don't hear any of that. It's a dream.
So if you have a dream with like your mom's voice or your dad's voice,
No.
you
No, the dream is they talked to me and they said this. There's no voice.
but so what when your brain is in experiencing the dream, and now this is hard because you have to pull the memory of the dream, so it's the mental recreation of a mental recreation,
right? Yeah.
Like, but if I were to remember you and dive into your mind and fucking walk around, if I see your mom standing there and then she turns and says something in the dream when you're experiencing it, does she have her own voice?
No, she doesn't have any voice. She says what she says, and you understand what she's saying because it's a dream.
She has no voice, but the words are just transmitted to you because you understand the words.
Yeah.
But there's no sound.
No, of course not.
Not of course not. What do you
mean, not of course not?
Not of course not, because when people talk in my dreams, they talk, and I hear them in my head.
You don't just understand them.
No, I hear a sound of the voice of the person. It's like a mimicking...
But it's not real. There's no noise.
No, but inside of the memory, sounds occur. Sometimes touch occurs. Sight occurs.
Oh, it's just a list of things that happened.
Well, unfortunately, that's not the way my dreams go. And I can say for most people, it's probably similar to that as well. Like, the sensations of your sight, sound, touch, and all that shit are happening inside your head, and you're getting a sensation that echoes that. It feels as if you're hearing that. It feels as if you're seeing that.
Like when Paige and I were talking about this on Saturday, the best that I could come up with is that every memory I have is a script.
It's a text adventure.
And like a script for a play. And if I want to recreate the scene, I place the actors and then read the script. But it's me reading it, so it sounds like me.
Do you picture colors or visual details, faces?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like they're in my mind's eye. I'm not seeing it like a picture in front of me. But on the aphantasia thing, I'm like the one. I see a picture perfect apple.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that because I mean when I say like I mean in your mind's eye, right? But the thing about the mind's eye, I guess, for what. Okay, whatever with the people. For when I say in the mind's eye, I'm describing my understanding of how I've talked to people about memories, dreams, and whatever up until now, and like talking to Punch Mob or whoever about this type of shit. The mind's eye is not just visual. Like the mind's eye can pull up a particular sound, a particular music,
No, it's visual. That's your eye. It's your mind's eye. You see things with it.
Okay.
It's not the mind's ear.
It's not, but somehow it manages to convey these things regardless. And I don't have to split the replay of a sound into a mimicry step or a full recollection step. They can be one and the same. I'm so confused.
Yeah,
I'm so confused.
How I feel. Somebody asked me, like, "Oh, what about memories of smells?" Like, I can't smell anything, man.
Yeah, smell is weird. I can't recollect smelling anything. Like, in terms of like,
I can remember the smell of poop and spaghetti.
I can remember. You can remember smells. That feels a little more disconnected. But. And I don't know that I can say I smelt anything in a dream per se. But at least but like sound and visuals are very, very vivid to me. And when you talk about recalling a previous conversation, that's the most clear-cut, straight example of like, I'm playing back voices in my mind that are not mine, and they're definite. And I never hear my own voice mimicking other people unless I'm talking into a mic and hearing it in my headphones right now. When I read a book, the narration is read in my own head voice.
Yeah, people were saying they could switch around to any narrator they wanted.
Yeah, I can do that too. I tend not to, but if I want to, I can switch to another voice that's not me in my
That
head.
seems cool.
And if when a character pulls up that is like a different character of someone that's totally not me, I assign a fake voice to them in my head. So like, you know, this lady has a British accent, so whenever her lines pop up in a book, I hear a British lady now reading the script. I don't know. Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, you brought it up as some shit that.
Yeah, this sucks.
That's crazy. I don't even know how to describe that. That's wild. Well, I mean,
Don't have not a good brain now. Darn.
well, I guess my only other thing is like, so you've never played any kind of instrument, right?
I played the ukulele incredibly briefly in elementary school. I did not like it.
Okay. Because I kind of wonder, like, with like, you know, not that it's in your like wheelhouse, but like, would would playing music, you know, and like having to recall that, like, is it like something you can train, or is it just like, is, you know what I mean, or is it just this is how it is from the jump, and it would always have been like this, and for you music would have been just, you know, play by numbers, but like when you're
That's the part. You know, I've talked to Paige about this because Paige is a musician. She plays a couple instruments, and I've never, ever been able to understand why musicians need sheet music or a conductor at all. They should just learn how to do all the pieces in a row. And then I was told that what I was saying was the musical equivalent of when you and Eli laughed at me for drawing like a photocopy machine.
Right. Yeah. A writer can write a book. That doesn't mean they're going to memorize the words. To the memorization of the words and the ability to write the book are two separate things. The memorization of music and the ability to, you know, like there's a lot going on. It's much easier if you have a reference. You already know the music and where you're supposed to go with it, but you use this as a guideline to take you where you need to go for like specific moments as you go through it, you know? You're not lost without the music, but you're also not 100% going off of your memory.
Yeah. I see somebody say a conductor's for organizing a whole group of people. If they're all professionals, shouldn't they just all play at the same tempo?
Yes, but it's made easier by having, for example, a metronome, which is a person who acts as a human metronome for you, who can keep you on rhythm, tell you when to go up, tell you when to go down, and guide you. And for a lot of people, people in an orchestra are not even looking fully, because they're focused on what they're doing and they're pulling back their memories of what they have memorized, plus reading the sheet. But the combination of all of the above keep you in line, right? There are times when in the middle of playing, you got really good at Guitar Hero. There are times when in the middle of playing a song on Expert, you're in the rhythm and then you fall out of it, you fuck up, and then you have to try to find that way to get back in. And it takes a second because you're like, fuck, where was the flow again, right? And you know, let's say you're doing like Bark at the Moon and you're right in the middle of the you know, and when you fall out, that point of getting back in is difficult, but the more the more safety nets you have around you, which can be something like a metronome, something like your memorization, something like the book in front of you, something like a conductor. These are all things that can help you get right back into it faster if you fuck up, you know? Hi-Fi Rush lets you have 5 different things to get back into the beat when you fuck up. This is all what the point of a conductor and all these other things I'm describing is. You see, and then you hear, and then you recall, and you're using all of these senses to make sure that you do the right thing at the right time. But if
I'm just confused, because if you're like a professional like violin player who's been doing it for 20 years, why are you making mistakes?
Because everyone makes mistakes. Mistakes happen.
No, that's the point of being good at your fucking job. I suck at my job. That's why I make mistakes.
Being good at your job doesn't mean perfection. It means
it does. That's what being good at something. All right. Nope. I'm
nope.
not gonna fall into it.
Nope. Nope. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. Nope. All right. That'll do for a letter section. We got a full ass bit there. So wow. Fucking just I don't even that last one's a can of worms that we'll leave you on. And take it easy, everybody.
Have a good one. Bye.
We'll see you next time.